Hello, good morning, and very warm welcome to Pembroke Cricket Club for the inaugural IP20 T20 Festival hosted by Cricket Leinster in association with Cairn Homes. You're more than welcome to join us here. 3 days, 3 days of cricket, 6 matches, 4 teams, and one winner at the end of it all. I'm Peter Boyd, and I'm very proud and privileged to be joined by one of their own. It's Pembroke Cricket Club's Andy Balbirnie. Andrew, you're very welcome to join us.
Thanks, Peter. Brilliant to be here. Great to be involved as a player, but also a spectator. I think we're in for 3 days of brilliant cricket. 4 good teams have played good cricket all season in the T20 competition, culminating in this kind of final weekend to settle the who will take the trophy home.
Morning, everybody, and welcome to the Hanley Professional Trophy for this IP20 Festival here at Pembroke Cricket Club. Standing umpires for the first match between Munster Reds and Northwest Warriors are Paul Reynolds and Steve Wood. Welcome the Munster Reds team.
As you may have heard there over the PA, this first match of the festival sees the Munster Reds take on the Northwest Warriors. At the toss a little earlier, the Munster Reds won it. Jeremy Benton, their captain, decided to field first and insert the Warriors. So they take the field with umpires Steve Wood and Paul Reynolds. And we have William Porterfield and Davy Rankin open for the Warriors. Have you had a look at the pitch there, Andrew, this morning? Do you think it'll change much, or is there any sort of a score that they might be looking to put on this morning?
Yeah, it's a fresh wicket, but the 2 wickets down that sort of end of the square are usually the best wickets in the ground. I think the Warriors probably would have bowled first. A fresh wicket, first use of it, bit overcast, new regulation ball. Munster probably the right decision, make the most of the conditions early on. Although they have tended to use spin in the first couple of overs, it looks as if they're probably going to go with their skipper from the first over. But yeah, no doubt that both Warriors and of course Munster would have bowled first on a fresh wicket.
Yeah, that was certainly the implication and the answer that Andy McBride gave me after the toss. He said that it was no doubt that he probably would have bowled first and done the same, but we're looking at it now. We're almost set for the first ball of the festival. It is Munster captain Jeremy Benton with the ball in hand. It's William Porterfield about to take strike, and all we're waiting for is a signal from umpire Steve Wood for play. Top ball to start with, nicely tossed up there, just to see if there was anything in the air or off the pitch for him. Our first boundary of the morning there, races away, dragged it down a little bit there, kind of an overcorrection really, wasn't it, the second ball?
And at that sort of pace there's not much room for error. The outfield is lightning with the weather we've had. There's a lot of burnt grass out there, so the ball's going to race away all weekend, and any batsman to get a boundary off away in your first couple of balls is vital. William Porterfield very very good against spin, does play the reverse sweep very well, and with all the men up in the ring and the offside, it's something he might look to hit early on. First 6 overs been so crucial in T20 cricket. Obviously only 2 men out, and with a left hand right hand combination here for the Warriors, it's gonna be quite tricky for the Munster bowlers to find their line and length early. The usual field is a long on and deep square, and that's what they've gone with from the start. But like I said, first 6 overs, opening batsmen almost have a license to go out and hit as many boundaries as they can, and it's the easiest time to score boundaries.
A little bit of uncertainty for a second there as the ball popped up, but safely through in the end for another single for Davy Rankin. Gets himself off the mark as well. It's like anything else, getting those first couple of runs, getting yourself started. It doesn't matter where you're playing or who you're playing against. You just want to get a couple of runs and get yourself off the mark. And there's the first wicket of the T20 Festival. William Porterfield slicing away there to backward point, and that's it. It's 6 for 1.
Yeah, spin in the first over has proved to be Porterfield's doing. He played a couple of nice shots early in the first couple of balls, but that looks like it held up a touch. We don't really know until you kind of hear from the batsman, but maybe held up a lot. He's taken the pace off it and he's just pushed it and forced it to backward point, and it's 6 for 1 in the first. Porterfield, the left-hander, is dismissed, and another powerful left-hander comes in, Stuart Thompson. He's kind of batted all around the order in the Irish T20 squad. He's opened the batting in the last couple of years and been very good at the top of the order. So, as the Warriors obviously don't want to lose wickets in the first 6, when they see a guy like Stuart Thompson come in and the way he can hit the ball, they won't be too worried. But it's just been proven to be a bit tricky here in this first over.
That's it. It's all about, you can have confidence that your team can bat down the line, but you don't want to be facing the multiple overs and facing a long stretch. But certainly in this season's T20 competition, Thompson's been batting with a strike rate up over 150. So he's certainly well able to smash the ball around it when he gets the opportunity. But don't think he would have expected to be coming in within the first over.
And I like the way he had the slip in. It's not something you see too often, particularly with spinners in the first 6 to have a slip in. But he notices that he's bowled well in that first over. New man's come in, and no matter how well you're playing or how good a player you are, you're going to be nervous for your first couple of balls and might entice that nick. So a good start for the captain Benton there, 7 off the first over, but that vital wicket of Porterfield. Yeah,
an eventful over, one boundary, but also that vital wicket as well, like you say, to get started. And it looks like it's going to be Jared Barnes. Plays his cricket now at the moment down the road in YMCA in Leinster here, but he did play before for the Warriors in 2006, so he knows one or two of the lads, I'm sure, a bit better, maybe even a bit better than he knows some of the Munster lads that he's playing with today.
Yeah, he just has to play a game for the Knights, and he's done all 4 now at this stage. He's a good bowler. I didn't know much about him until this summer, but he's played a couple of championship games for us in the Interpros, and he's bowled very well with great control. Haven't seen much from him in white ball cricket, but if he's got the skills that he has in 4-day cricket, he'll certainly be a handful here, especially with the new ball on a fresh wicket. Just looking at the field, 3rd man back and deep square back, so slip going in, Max Sorensen going into slip there, so attacking field. They could easily bring 3rd man up and put another man out, but he's going to back himself to bowl his line and length. There's a big gap in mid wicket, so can't really stray too straight to Stuart Thompson.
No, it's kind of that temptation there. He's kind of going with an attacking field, but also giving that temptation there to try and tempt Thompson into hitting his shots and going for that. He just did have a little feel for that one outside the off stump there.
Yeah, and I suppose not too many viewers will know, but we use a Kookaburra regulation ball in this competition as opposed to a turf ball, and the regulation ball does have a bigger seam, so it does kind of bring the bowlers a lot into it in white ball cricket, so you will see a bit of nip early on. Thompson just getting a couple of siders. Early wicket loss, you want to consolidate a bit, but at the same time, like I said, in the first 6, it's such a key time to bat. So as much as he's being watchful, he'll be wary that he needs to pounce on any loose bowling from Barnes. But 2 balls in a good area and a good start from Barnes.
He tried to get after that one all right, but obviously two balls was enough to have a look, and then it was time to try and get the big shot out, but a bit early through it.
Yeah, and dot balls, like especially in this format, you feel as a batter, you know yourself, you face 3 or 4 dot balls here. I need to get one away, even if it's a 1 or a 2. It doesn't have to be a boundary, but just get down to the other end. Thompson will feel the heat now. There's no doubt. I've been in this situation, and he'll be looking to score.
Nick down towards third man. Well cut off. Here we see the left hand right hand combination, the field change, but still keeping everybody in positionally. Looks like the same for Davy Rankin.
Yeah, deep square leg and a third man. I think that's the right way to go about it. They're on top in this 6, and they know they've got a bit of a sniff here to get maybe 2 or 3 in this 6. So I like the way they're going about it here. They're being attacking Munster. I don't think they've won a game in this competition yet, and it'd be a great time and a great start to their weekend if they could really put the Warriors under the pump, who are still in the hunt for the trophy.
And there you go again, Andrew, just that single again to rotate the strike and move the field again. Okay, it's the end of the over, but it just keeps the field inside on the move, keeps them thinking and rotating the strike, making sure that you're still scoring runs. Okay, it's not boundaries and what have you, but if you're going to get something off it, at least each ball.
Yeah, it's like what I said. It's as an opener in the first 6, you want to hit boundaries naturally, but if the ball's doing a bit and there's a bit of nip out there, you need to be able to rotate the strike as well as hit the boundaries. So it's a good over from Barnes, brilliant over from Barnes, following Benton from the top end with his first over, and we're going to see David Delaney for the first time today, who's obviously a very exciting bowler. He bowls at good pace, and he's starting to bowl with a lot more control. So but that may suit the batters as well, pace on the ball rather than kind of taking the pace off the ball that Benton was doing. So they might look to get after Delaney early on here.
It's an interesting one for captain and for David himself as well when he is bowling, because he does have that extra bit of pace compared to a lot of bowlers around Leinster and club cricket in Ireland. But like you say, in the T20 context, if you're swinging hard at the ball and you connect in any sort of way, you can almost get accidental boundaries by nicking it here or there because of the extra pace that you can put on the ball. But that sounded like a nick. Yeah. Definitely sounded like there was an edge going through there, and Davy Rankin is gone as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's just that bit of extra pace, a bit of bounce, and it's a bit of a loose shot, but it was probably a ball that was there to be hit. And David Delaney's holding his ankle there. I know he's had issues with it the last couple of weeks, so I hope it's not anything too serious. But to get a wicket in your first ball, he's the X factor that I've kind of spoken about, and he can make things happen. Whether it's wickets or he gets the game moving. So key breakthrough for Munster. Rankin's a dangerous batsman, and the Warriors now 9 for 2.
Yeah, like you say, that extra bit of pace is always guaranteed to make something happen and to pick up the wicket in the first ball. I suppose maybe that little bit of pressure as well. The fact that they haven't got away, they were not. 9 for 1 after 2 overs, just possibly feeling that they had to up the run rate, had to get boundaries, had to go after each ball, and just that edge through to the keeper and well held onto.
It just looks like it's Delaney's left ankle, and it's obviously his landing one, and he puts a lot of effort in when he bowls, and that hopefully it's not too serious. The physio's on just to check that he's okay, but like I said, great start for him. And William McClintock comes in from Munster Cricket Club, and in a pressurised situation now, that these guys have got to set a platform up for the Warriors so that they can kind of go at the end. But if they keep trying to go now and they lose a couple more, they're in big trouble here. And Munster have bowled with great accuracy and great discipline this morning. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be completely happy with his landing there. He's having a look at the footholes, and obviously T20 it's only 4 overs, but a guy like that with the power he's putting through that front leg, it's gonna be under strain then.
And it is something, like you say, that he has been dealing with and trying to manage over the last number of weeks. Has been the ankles. It's been a concern for him, and trying to manage the workload and manage the strain that's been put through the ankles.
Robert Forrest just gone into a gully there, so slipping a gully here in the third over. You don't see it too much in T20 cricket, but like I said before, they feel like they're in with a bit of a sniff here, and if they can rip through this top order, they'll be well in this game.
There's a few experienced heads in this Munster side, but a lot of young players as well. And there's that kind of fearlessness about the way they're going about their cricket this morning. They've kind of sensed an opening, and they're really trying to really steal a march and take more wickets rather than consolidating. They're really trying to continue putting the pressure on, and as you say, bringing those extra catching fielders in. It's really a case of continuing that pressure.
Yeah, I mean, to have someone like Max Sorensen in their team, for a lot of guys that, you know, have played a lot of club cricket but maybe not necessarily a lot of interprovincial cricket, to have someone with Max's experience to be guiding them and giving them advice is brilliant for these young guys to get. There's a lot of good club cricketers here, and it's great that they can actually go up to this level and play against internationals such as Thompson, Porterfield, McBride, Young. It's a brilliant idea, and it's a brilliant setup that they have.
What a delivery. Straight through the gate. Fantastic from David Delaney. Dismisses his international teammate Stuart Thompson. And the Warriors in real trouble now, 11 for 3.
Yeah, full and straight does the trick. That's the best delivery you can bowl at this stage of the game. It's full and straight. Attack the stumps. You know, they're 11 for 2, and you attack the stumps and make them play, and bang, you've got third wicket, and it's 11 for 3 now. And Warriors in all sorts of trouble here.
Incoming batsman for Northwest Warriors, number 1, Andy McBride.
Andy McBride comes in, the captain of the Warriors, and he needs to play a real captain's innings here. He got some runs up in North Down during the week in the 3-day competition, and he needs all his experience here, because this is an amazing start from the Reds. What an over from Dave Delaney, 2 wickets in his first over, and Warriors are under the pump here, 11 for 3. Great start to this weekend. It's not always about the boundaries and 4s and 6s. It's about taking wickets, and that's what the Reds have done. They've set attacking fields, and they've really gone for it, and the Warriors have to reassess here with the 2 Donamana lads at the crease.
And it's amazing as well when you talk about a weekend like this. It's all about momentum, and it can happen. And T20 is all about that, even within an innings. So you talk about this leading on, and then 2 more matches thinking about for the rest of the weekend. You know, you get off to a bad start. Suddenly, after half an hour, you're looking ahead, and you've got 2 more matches the weekend as well. And it can make it feel like a long weekend ahead of you for the Warriors.
Lovely shot, bit of width. Back foot punch, doesn't even have to go halfway, he just punches it through, and on this quick outfield it races away. First time we've seen a bit of width from Barnes, and he gets punished for it.
And that's it. A few bits of width from different places, and all of a sudden that momentum that I talked about could switch back just as quickly in the opposite direction. So it's just a case of these 2 batsmen digging in and getting a partnership built together. Good comeback from Barnes there. Took him up for a bit of room and space. As I said, it was the first time really that anybody has offered any width, any of the bowlers. So it did get punished, but if they can keep continuing with that line and length that they had bowled this morning, they'll keep the pressure on.
Yeah, and it's so important. I mean, obviously there's wickets falling all around you, but if you get a bad ball, you have to put it away. There's no point in going into your shell and thinking that you just have to survive. You've got to put that bad ball away and kind of take the control back. a big thing that the Warriors have in their advantage. They have a lot of left-handers in their team, so there's always a left-hand, right-hand combination, which is a bit of a nightmare for a bowler and a captain. Deep square leg goes out and a third man back here.
Chance.
Oh,
Great
must be
strike.
gone.
Oh, and he is gone. What a shot in the field there.
Brilliant bit of field. And picks it up one hand, direct hit. Direct hit is always out. Always out. Even if it's a club game or a TV game, it, by and large, is always out. And McBride, a bit of hesitation from his Donnamana teammate there, McClintock. And he had just kind of looked like he got himself in, picked up a boundary, got a single, but he gets run out. 16 for 4 here. Warriors in all sorts of trouble.
That was a fantastic piece of fielding, and they're really, really good. Seized upon that. Just a slight bit of hesitation, as you say, but it really was fantastic.
And it's not what you need when a team's bowling well and they're threatening the edge, they're hitting the stumps. A run out is just not really required. They don't need to do it. The beauty of our position here is we get to see everyone walk past after being dismissed. I didn't want to say anything as he was walking past. He had that look in his eye.
There was definitely nothing being said there for a couple of seconds. The last thing anyone wants is dead air, but we were certainly not going to say anything as William came past us there. That was...
he knows himself. It's not. I suppose it was McBride's call. He wanted the run. McClintock hesitated a bit. And brilliant bit of fielding there at mid-wicket there by Jones. And 16 for 4 here. If you're not down here, get down here, because it's all happening.
Oh, it's a great delivery again. But this game is moving on a pace here. This is something else from the Reds, and I suppose this is the one thing about the Reds as a team and as a squad. You know, they're gathering together, you know, top quality players and putting them out, and it just takes them to click together and put in a performance like this. Yes, they haven't won a game this season, but you know they have the capabilities to do so at any stage and to put it up to any of the teams within this competition.
Yeah, and a good time to play them as well. I think a lot of these guys would have travelled down last night, whether from Derry or Belfast, where they played during the week. So there's no doubt they'll be tired. They played a long 3-day game during the week in the sun, and they were in the field for a long period of time. Took 20 wickets, got a great win. But as good a player as you may be, you know, if you don't get a good night's sleep or you're travelling down, you're going to be tired. And to play first thing in the morning against a team like Munster, who are buzzing around, a lot of the guys live in Dublin, so they just look a bit tired and a bit cold, and Munster have taken advantage. Another change of bowling, Max Sorensen coming on from the top end, so a lot of changes going on. But Aaron Gillespie's a good player. I've seen a lot of him in Interpro 3-day cricket, and he's got I think 350s out of 3 games against us, and looks a very, very good player. But like I said, as good a player as you are, you got to be in the frame of mind to get out there and dig deep and do a job for your team. And he needs to bat for as long as possible. Fine leg coming into the ring, deep square is out, and third man is out, so any sort of width, you know, you're going to throw your hands at it and look to pierce that offside. Sorry, fine leg has actually come back and square leg up, so a fairly regulation field for Sorensen, who's bowled beautifully in the last couple of weeks for Leinster, and he'll be looking to do the same job for the Reds now. Sun's starting to creep out. Haven't seen that in a while. Shouldn't have brought my hoodie.
Yeah.
Andrew Leonard is putting the sun cream on as we speak behind me now.
As the sun begins to burn through here, I tell you, this is going to be one hot spot for the next 3 days.
Yeah, I don't know if we've picked the best spot here for comms. It's anywhere from the top gate down along to the wall is a hotbed of Leinster cricket, and hopefully over the weekend we see a lot of people down, a lot of kids down. There'll be a lot of events going on throughout the day and some top class cricket, and if they're down at the moment, they've certainly been entertained thus far. some people watching might think Robert Forrest has a player Mike. He doesn't. He's just quite a loud individual, and you'll be hearing him throughout the weekend, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he doesn't have the keeper's gloves on him today, but he definitely talks like a keeper.
Sorensen packing the offside, leaves a bit of a gap at mid wicket, but packs that offside field in the ring. Another wide down the leg side, keeping them in the hunt here. Been a few extras in this first 6, but they can sort of afford to bowl wides. I know no one wants to bowl wides, but in the situation that they're in now, wides aren't going to hurt them that much.
You were saying earlier about seeing Max close at hand, with Leinster over the last few weeks. He seems to be a really revitalised character and really, I wouldn't want to say enjoying his cricket again, because I'm sure he's always enjoyed it, but, he's really on top form over the last few weeks. Is there an extra pep in his step after being recalled into the Lightning squad for the 3-day and 1-day cricket?
Yeah, I think so. He's just straight on the leg side. McBride's tucked it down to fine leg for 4. I think he's a good guy to have around your squad. He brings great energy. It was quite funny. We were up in Breedy playing a 3-day game, and it was his first 3-day game in a couple of years, and we had 170 overs in the field, and as strong and a fit a guy he was, I think that kind of hit him hard, and no matter how fit or strong you are, nothing really prepares you for that. Another short one. Just short. It's looking like he's got a bit of a plan here to McBride.
Yeah.
He did tuck that last one away for 4, but that one's just dropped short of Barnes, and had he been maybe a bit more on his toes, it might have carried. But 24 for 4, certainly attacking bowling here from Sorensen, and this first 6 has been all about the Reds.
Now run again. It's amazing to think that the slip is still in position at this point in the game, and we've come so used to seeing it in this Munster innings that we've kind of forgotten to mention it, because it is so unusual to see a slip in at this point in the power play.
Yeah, you don't see it you don't see it in the first 6, at all really, until maybe the first over. But to have it potentially for the 6 overs is just testament to how well this Red side have bowled. Delaney coming on now from the Sandymount end, and if it goes anything like his last over, the Warriors will be in disarray.
Bowling now from the Willfield Road end, number 16, David Delaney.
It's an interesting one there. Just seeing Benson just firing the ball back in when the batsmen were in comfortably. It's something I think that's been kind of drilled into teams at the moment, is to make sure that the ball is back in and returned to the crease rather than holding on to it. Is that something that's kind of come into the game?
It's kind of like, I wouldn't call it a dark art, but a lot of teams want to get the ball soft as quick as possible, because the harder it is, the easier it is to get it away. So it's something you'll probably see all weekend. Players will throw the ball in the bounce, in on the bounce as much as possible. Now, if you're throwing it in on the bounce in the ring, the umpire will get in onto you and say, "Come on, like you can throw it in 30 yards." But all the throws, I'd say, from the boundary are going to be bounced in, no doubt, and that's done throughout the world. And in the longer format of the game, it's done to potentially bring in reverse swing. It's obviously a lot harder when there's 2 new balls for a 50 over game, but it's still done around the world, and it's something we'll see, particularly with these dry outfields and dry squares. It won't take much for the ball to soften up.
Full toss this time, clipped away.
Yeah, a bit of a gimme there from Delaney, just on his pads, didn't have to do much, just put a bat in it and it races away to deep square leg. A loose ball from Delaney and well put away, and the Warriors are starting to build something here. They've picked up a few singles and not losing another wicket. A 5th wicket would be a disaster, but Gillespie and McBride have consolidated a bit here and pushed the score on to 30.
A little bit of extra pace there again from Delaney, fired through.
Yeah, good carry here. The wicket looks, like I said, the regulation ball that we do use does give the bowlers a big assistance, but from what we've seen, there is good carry here and a bit of bounce, and it's good to see as the weekend progresses. There's going to be a lot of cricket on this wicket, and by Sunday afternoon it could well be dry and turn, but at the moment it does look a good wicket. Brilliant power play that from the Reds. I think they've absolutely bossed that one. 30 for 4 after 6. They couldn't have asked for it to go better. They've taken out the top 4 of the Warriors side, and they've bowled brilliant. They fielded well with that crucial run out, and they can spread the field now if they want. They might want to keep a field in and keep a slip in. Spin could well come back into it. Looks as if Benton's going to give himself a bowl from that top end, but he can spread the field a bit now and not have to worry about going for boundaries. And 30 for 4 after 6. Brilliant start from the Reds.
It's been fantastic, and it really has shown their determination to show that that attacking field and everything else to bring them into the game and get those wickets. The difficulty now is as the Warriors have kind of doubled the score since the fall of the last wicket, is that if they do spread the field and they allow them to get a few runs and start to build that partnership, is that you end up with this partnership really going big and developing for the Warriors. The Munster kind of let them off the hook.
Yeah, exactly right, and this will probably be a time where McBride goes, right, we can actually pick up 6 singles easily here. The field is spread, the lads in the ring are quite deep, and I would like to see the Reds go a bit more attacking. The 2 batsmen are still on single figures and know that they have to bat a long period here, but McBride will say, look, we can pick up singles with ease here, and if we can get the odd boundary, it gets us up to a decent score going into the last 5 overs.
He's got good hands anyway, but that bounced so slowly into Max Arnson's hands there. There was no danger of anyone trying to steal a quick run there. Oh.
Like the Reds could be missing a trick here, and it's easy to say that, but I just think if they can get a 5th wicket or a 6th wicket, they could potentially roll this Warriors side. But at the moment they're just letting them punch it around and pick the gaps, and McBride plays a good drive out there, should get 2, comes back easy 2.
Yeah, it's an easy 2, but definitely I'd agree that they just have kind of gone with the regulation way of playing, 6 overs attacking, and then as soon as the 7th over started, they've pushed the field back immediately. It's always easy from the sides, but you'd feel that they could have kept in a bit more attacking field and gone to look for that more killer blow to get that 5th wicket. It's in saying that you take 35 for 4 after 7 overs every day of the week, but
Oh, don't get me wrong. I think they've played brilliantly here and they've bowled and fielded brilliantly here. But I'd just like to see a touch more ruthlessness. And that's not saying that the Reds might not. They might take 3 wickets here in the next 2 overs and make us look like fools. But I just think I'd quite like to see it. And McBride would be happy here for 5 or 6 overs to just knock it around and just build a partnership. Sending Jones on debut here, coming on from the Willfield Road end. Bowling to the Irish international Andy McBride.
Picked up by and put down. What a chance.
On debut, first ball in the Interpros, and it's an easy catch. He made a bit of a dive there, but it was an easy catch and one that has to be taken. Andy McBride is a dangerous player, and that was a loose shot. Towed it, looking at the end of his bat now, but wow, that could have been so easily 35 for 5 with not a great ball, and that would have been an absolute gift and one that the Reds could well rue at the end of this innings.
And as is usual, then a chance given and you get punished immediately afterwards as well.
It's a cruel game. Yeah. It's a cruel game. There's no doubt that they'll be feeling a bit ill now. Like you drop a catch to get a single, and then before you know it, rather than having a wicket and a dot, you have 5 in 2 overs and in 2 balls. And a great start to the over here. Good shot from Gillespie. Bit of width. Third man was up. Point is up. Just had to put a bat in it and it races away down to third man for 4. 40 for 4.
Wide down the leg side, and it goes all the way for 4 as well. That's
5 wide. It's always one of the lads in that tent there for the Warriors that they'll want to clap that, but they know that they can't. But 5 runs without having to do anything is an absolute gift, and not a great start here from Senan Jones. He's, like I said, could easily have had an international scalp with his first ball, but it's not to be. Good start here to the over.
Unfortunately, his brother on the boundary there let him down to take the catch, and another boundary cut backward a point as well. Great shot there. A little bit of width offered up, and Gillespie climbs all over to hit the boundary. So really tough start for Senan Jones here.
Yeah, similar shot to his first boundary, the over. A bit of width, but he hit that a lot better and a lot more crisper. And on this outfield, like we've already spoken and we'll speak about for the weekend, it's a lightning quick outfield here in Pembroke. It's like glass. You just have to put it through the infield and you'll get your value for shots.
So Ruan Jones that time saving the second run, but I'm sure he's still thinking back to the first ball of this over, and he let McBride shot through his hands and could have backed up his brother.
His own brother. Brilliant 8th over there for the Warriors. 16 coming from it. An over that they've been crying out for since the start of this innings, and it could well be the over that triggers this Warriors comeback. They lost those 4 early wickets, but McBride and Gillespie are putting together a good partnership here, and that could have so easily been a different over, but unfortunately Senan Jones' first over goes for 16.
Yeah, 17 in the end there with that last last single. But like you say, it's that big partnership. But building up here, and again, we were almost made to look like the fools when we said about putting them back on the boundary and maybe not having that attacking field. But this is the difficulty of it. They built the singles. They took them when they were on offer, and now a couple of boundaries in that last over, and they're beginning to build.
Yakub coming in, ex-YMCA player, ex the Hills, very talented leg spinner, has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Will need all his tricks today and this weekend. Good start, 2 from it.
In talking about the weekend, and how's from a player's point of view, thinking about the right shot there, pulled backwards by Gillespie there. Lovely shot, got down to the pitch of the ball and really swept it hard.
Yeah, he's taking this game by the horns now. Is Gillespie? He came in, got a start, got himself in, and he started to expand his shots here, and he's put Yakub Ali under the pump already, and he's on 24 without really having to do anything that drastic.
Yes, sorry, I was just beginning to ask there, Andrew, about from a player's point of view, having this weekend, and you get to focus on one format of the game. Everyone, playing 3 games over the weekend and get into a run of form. Is it something that the players really are looking forward to and enjoy having that one focus for the weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the hardest things about playing cricket generally is you have 3 different forms of the game, and the fact that for instance, the Warriors were playing 3-day cricket for the whole week, and then all of a sudden they have to go to the other, a big drastic change to T20 cricket where you've got to score, run a ball and more, and it's quite difficult. And when I played county cricket, that was the biggest test. Was like one day you could be playing 3-day, then you play a 1 day, then you play T20. But as a batsman, it's just something you got to get your head around and get on with it. But yeah, no, it's good to be able to play a weekend like this. I think hopefully there'll be good crowds down. The place looks great. Everyone's sort of looking to enjoy the weekend, and with the trophy still up for grabs, people will be hungry for success and hungry to win this competition.
Well, as you say, the place does indeed look great. Cricket Leinster have put on a great show, and the help from Karen Holmes to be able to do the live stream for you, and for anyone who can't get down. But we would encourage as many people as possible to get here and have a look around and enjoy the cricket. But if you can't get here, we'll certainly be here all weekend providing live commentary and live streaming of all the games. And as I say, it's great thanks to Karen Holmes for being able to provide that service for you.
Dave Delaney now coming back into the attack. Would have liked to have seen him on a bit earlier, but Gillespie now set, no slip. Delaney steaming in from Wilfield Road end. Oh, just evaded the keeper down the leg side, but a bit of a loosener from Delaney as he comes back down. Gillespie just has to get a bat in it and erases down to fine leg.
That's it. As we said earlier, with that extra pace that he puts on the ball, it just needs a fine edge. But great effort from Pretorius behind the wicket to get on it, but he just nicked it fine enough that it go past him. And again, that just puts the pressure on. First ball, boundary, just puts that pressure back onto the bowler in this format. Attempted slower ball, I think, there from David Delaney, but straight down the leg side.
Yeah, and slower balls are something that bowling coach Rob Castle has come in and tried to instill into our bowlers as quick as possible to get as many variations as you can, particularly for the short format. We saw last week with India, they bowled a lot of good slower balls and slower balls that caught a lot of us off guard, and I think it's something he's trying to do with our bowlers as much as possible and give them a lot more skills than they already have. Gillespie moves into the 30s now, and he's done it without really kind of doing anything drastic, and he's kind of moved along nicely without having, like, you look up the scoreboard, he's in 30, he's on 30, and he's playing an absolute gem of an innings here for the Warriors and bringing them back into this game, because they were in all sorts of trouble after that first 6, 4 down. But with the skipper now, McBride, they've set themselves a platform.
That's a powerful shot. He really got hold of that, McBride. Beautifully driven on the up, but got all over it and beautifully driven for 4.
Yeah, gave that one the kitchen sink. A bit over pitch by Delaney, who's still got a bit of a limp on him. Whether that injury is playing on his mind a bit, but with the offside field up, mid-off up, extra cover there, he's absolutely pierced the boundary and doesn't even bother running down the wicket. Just turns around and gets ready for the next ball. Mid-off goes back to long off. Delaney under the pump. There's
a big shot. That's going to go all the way. Our first 6 of the weekend.
First 6 of the weekend, and he peppers the bar. He looks to clear his front foot and just clips it over mid-wicket. Not a great over from Delaney there, and the Warriors race on here, and they're really setting themselves up nicely. They got themselves to over 7 and over now from being in all sorts of trouble, and McBride playing a bit of a gem of an innings here with Gillespie. 77 for 4 at the halfway stage.
We certainly wouldn't have seen that after the first 6 or after when they were 4 down, but all of a sudden they're up to 77 for 4 at the halfway stage, and with McBride and Gillespie here setting the platform, they could really go on and score big here.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking to you about, is that sort of 7th and 8th over where they went with a couple of spinners and spread the field and let the Warriors knock it around for 1s and 2s, and that's just what the Warriors wanted. They wanted the 2 batsmen to get to 10, and then all of a sudden they're both into the 20s and 30s, and like that the game's just been turned on its head. Fresh wicket, regulation ball with that big seam, it's nipping around, and they have some good seamers on their side. They got Barnes, they got Sorensen, they got Delaney, and they just missed a trick, I think. Prediction score, halfway stage
now. Putting the score on that now, I'd be looking at 150. 150,
I'm going to go 143.
143, very precise.
Yeah,
okay,
write that down.
Okay, I'll put down 143 and I'll go 151. I certainly wouldn't have been saying that if Ruan Jones had held on to that catch off McBride. And I was nearly about to revise again there as that ball just dropped short of Benton for the return.
Could be 2.
Yeah.
Brian gets the skates on.
Yeah.
Good bit of feeling from Benton off his own bowling.
Very good feeling there.
It's always when you bring out your best feeling is when you're bowling. You want to save those runs for as much as possible. But we're about talking about 140 and 150 each, and I think the Warriors will absolutely take your hand for that. With the start they got, anywhere sort of plus 130 they'll be delighted with, and they'll have something to bowl at.
First swept there by Gillespie, but a bit of uncertainty in the field there from Boa Forrest.
Yeah, I didn't know they'd put a roundabout there in at point. He's done a full circle there, put the indicators on and went. It's just clever batting. It's all it is. They've took their 1s and 2s brilliantly. They've got the boundary. They've scored. Both of them are over run a ball now, I'd say, easily, and it's just been smart batting, nothing too audacious. They've just done exactly what the doctor ordered, and it's a great partnership this now by these two.
That's it, and it's moved the score along to 82 for 4 after 11 overs. Quick change in the commentary box here. Andrew Leonard will join Andrew Balburney.
Morning, Len.
2 Andrews in the box. Andy, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks. Enjoying the cricket. What an 11 overs we've had. We've had wickets, we've had boundaries. It's kind of a strange innings, the way the Warriors started and the way the Reds started, and then it's completely switched, almost from that drop catch at deep square. The tide sort of turned a bit, and I think the Warriors are well aware that they've got the stranglehold here now.
Who's on top right now, Andy, do you think? Spin's obviously going to play a crucial part this whole weekend.
I think the Warriors are on top. I think they've got 2 batters now who are well set. The field is spread and they're picking up boundaries with ease, but like I said, they're 4 down, so even if the Reds pick up a wicket now, it's probably back in the Reds' favour. That's just the way this game goes. Those four early wickets just kind of make it hard for the Warriors to play too expansively, because they know if they lose a couple of wickets that they're not far away from the bowlers coming in.
I suppose the interesting thing this weekend is we've got the one pitch for all 6 matches, 3 days. The 4 teams obviously trying to crown one champion here, and spin is going to play a crucial part. You'd have to think McBride just works that down towards long on cow corner for 1. What are your plans for the weekend, Andy? You have 12 in the squad. You're obviously looking to lift another trophy for Leinster.
Yeah, I think so. We set our stalls out from the start of the season to win. First of all, just put a hand out Ali there. It's just gone straight over his head. Pick up a single. Good bit of feeling from Sorensen. At the start of the season we just look to win each game, and then if trophies come, great, but we've obviously got a history of winning the trophies, so we sort of set our standards at winning trophies, and if we can pick one up at the start of or this weekend, that'll be a great start to trying to get as many as we can.
Huge strike all the way down the ground, might even go into the gardens. A wonderful strike from Andy McBride. Paul Reynolds signal 6. And the Northwest Warriors are starting to motor. 91 for 4 in the 12th over here.
Yeah,
that's a super strike.
Yeah, McBride's second 6. He's starting to open his arms a bit out now. The partnership moves into the 70s. It's been absolutely needed from the Warriors, who are in disarray. And McBride looking to get after Ali here. He's using his feet quite a bit. Not a massive turner of the ball, Yaqub Ali, but he's quite a clever bowler. Mixes his pace up quite well. But McBride now moves on to 30 and the Warriors into the 90s.
The definition of a captain's knock, you'd have to say, Andy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And with Gillespie, they obviously said to each other, right, we need to knock it around for a bit, and which is what they did after that 6. I was saying to Peter that I think the Reds might have missed a trick in maybe attacking the Warriors for a bit longer, maybe 2 or 3 more overs of the strike bowlers rather than bringing on the spin and spreading the field. But 2 batsmen now calling for the drink. It's hot stuff here in Pembroke. It's due to be a hot weekend all weekend, and the liquids need to be taken. Max Sorensen comes on now from the Sydney Parade end.
91 for 4 now after 12 overs. You're joining us here at the Interpro, the inaugural Interpro T20 Festival, the Hanley Energy Interpros, and this live stream couldn't be done without the support of Karen Holmes, and the Leinster Lightning are very thankful for that. Today we're going to be with you for all 3 days, 6 matches, and hopefully bringing some really high quality action, with the weather looking to be set very fair throughout the weekend. Please do get involved with us as well if you use the hashtag. Sorry, we're just getting a little bit of news here from Peter Boyd. This is now the highest ever 5th wicket partnership in the T20 in the 5 years since its return.
That's a long hashtag.
Yes, we'll come back to the hashtag, Andy. So we can use the hashtag T20 Festival at any point over the next few days, whether that be on Instagram or Twitter. We will get involved with you. We'll ask you some questions. We might even do a little feature ask with Andy later in the week, maybe over the weekend at some point. As that's just clipped out to square leg. 92 for 4 now in the 12th. Max, great to see Max back playing somewhere close to his best cricket this year.
Yeah, he's bowled well. Whenever he played in the 3-day match with us up in Breedy, he was probably one of our better bowlers in terms of control. He's just looked like he hasn't been gone. He's obviously a very fit guy, very strong guy, good action. But you know, there's a couple of years now he's been out of the Irish team, so for him to come back in and put in some good performances is great for him, but it's also great for the competition that players like him are performing.
And what's that like, Andy, when you have somebody who's actually playing as your teammate 1 week in the 3-day stuff, and now this weekend you're going to be playing against him? Obviously, Max is a very affable guy, but what's that actually like, having a teammate turn into a rival? Huge strike, wonderful shot, all the way into the gardens, and that's gone for 6. Wonderful strike, 99 for 4. The Warriors are rolling now.
Yeah, brilliant strike, and Andrew Leonard knows all about those gardens. He's been hitting to those gardens many times, and it's a long chase to get those. There's a couple of lads looking over the fence. We might need a new ball, but usually that Gordon's a good one to hop in and get it. But a great strike from Gillespie, and he moves into the 40s, and just the Warriors one short of 100 here, and really looking at a good score here. They're opening their arms up, and a great shot, well dismissed.
So just to go back to that, before we won't talk about the low level of cricket that I play and being hit down into those gardens too much, please, Andy, but go back to what is it like to have a colleague like Max who you've played so much cricket with over the years, and you're going to be opposing him now on Sunday in the final match of this weekend?
Yeah, it's strange. There's a couple of guys here who've played a couple of games for the Lightning this year, but it's also good because you want the best players playing in this competition for the 4 teams, no matter who the teams are. So the fact that Max is back playing in this competition, he's obviously one of the better performers in club cricket. It can only be good for the competition. You want your best 44 players playing in this weekend, and he's certainly in there.
In comes Sorensen again now. Just looking to work it for one after the big 6, but a dot ball, good piece of fielding there. Looking to get up to the 100, and with over 7 overs to bat here, the Warriors could be looking at in excess of 160, 170 at least.
Yeah, my 143 prediction could be in trouble. There's been a couple of bad deliveries from the Reds that have been put away with ease, and like you said, Lenny, they're looking like they could get 150 plus here. It's another one.
Huge! That is a wonderful strike. That's gone even further. That might have gone 20 to 30 yards down the gardens. That is huge. And that is a super 50 from Aaron Gillespie. He's come in at number 6. He's outscored his captain, and that's a wonderful innings, and he's still got a long way to bat. Wonderful strike. That's the second 6 of the over. 2 6s and 5 4s in that 50 from Aaron Gillespie. Wonderful batting.
Yeah, wonderful 50, 34 balls. Aaron Gillespie's played an absolute gem of an innings here. I spoke at the start of the broadcast of how I've been impressed with him in the 3-day competition. I haven't seen much of him in white ball cricket, but from what I've seen here, it's been a really patient innings. He knew that he needed to push it around and knock it around early on in his innings, and he'd get a bit of loose stuff towards this back end, and Warriors going to 105 now for 4, and it's looking like a completely different game from what we saw in that first 6. And I go back to that drop catch out of deep square leg, McBride off, I think it was Sennan Jones' first over, and it's proved crucial.
More runs here, cut away, could go all the way. Super piece of field in Jared Barnes, and he's going to save the boundary. They're going to rush through for 2. And that moves this partnership all the way up to over 90, and it's coming just 9 overs at a run rate of nearly 10 and over. Super stuff from the Warriors. At the end of the 13th over, the score is 107 for 4.
Yeah, it's not easy fielding that there. It used to be called a minefield back in the day. Took a few victims with it over the years, but Dale McDonough and his GM by choice team have done a tremendous job with the place here. Not only here, YMCA, Marion, Trinity, he's turned the place round, and it looks a picture today, and it's no longer a minefield.
Can you remember a summer like this? You talk about the heat wave, but look at the colour of the grass. It's the start of July, and we're really scorched. It's almost more like a desert than the lush green Pembroke we're used to.
Yeah, no, I can't remember a summer like this at all. I've spoken to a couple of people, and they've told me different years, but nothing like this. It's just great to be able to, for a cricketer, to be able to know that you can train and know that you can play and don't have to worry about whether it's going to rain or if you're going to get a spell of bad weather. Quite
unaccustomed to that in Ireland. McBride down the track to Ali, driven back to him, just a dot. Yaqub Ali coming into his 3rd over here. I think these 2 overs are going to be crucial now for the Reds to really try and contain the Warriors, aren't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. These 2 lads are looking dangerous.
Oh, you're saying he's come into his gather, he's dropped the ball.
Biggest hands in world cricket, Yaqub Ali. I don't know how he's dropped that.
I think Paul Reynolds is going to have to signal dead ball, but he's just going to consult with Steve Wood just to double check that wasn't actually a delivery, which could end up with it being called a no ball. He's just going over to his colleague here. I would imagine this should be called dead ball.
Yeah, I'm not too sure of the rule there. If it's called a no ball, it's very harsh. But hopefully, for the bowler's case and the Reds' case, it looks as if it's just going to be a dead ball.
Dead ball. I think common sense has prevailed there.
You'd know, though, a delivery like that.
Well, one of the big issues was when they brought in that you couldn't bounce the ball twice anymore. That became a no ball. That's affected me for sure. Down the track, huge, wonderful strike into the garden. That has hit the roof. It's hit the roof of the pavilion at the Sandymount end here, and new balls are being called for. Wonderful striking. What a partnership this is.
Yeah, I mean, if the neighbours weren't awake, they certainly will be now. They'll think it's hailstones out there. Andy McBride's played a beautiful shot. He's used his feet brilliantly. He's hit 2 6s down the ground over the side screen, and that's probably the best shot we've seen from him all day. And yeah, like you said, this is an incredible partnership. Already a record partnership. Could well go over 100 if they keep going this way. and the Warriors, it looked like a nervous tent about 10-15 minutes ago, but it's completely turned around, and they're in flying form over there, knowing that they could get a total.
In comes Ali again down the track. This could be out. In comes a fielder. Delaney, very well taken. Reverse hands. McBride has caught it long off, and he's gone for 37. Ali gets just reward. The Warriors 113 for 5.
Yeah, persevered. Threw it up again after being hit for a 6. And as a spinner, you know that once you've been hit for 6 out of the ground, you don't necessarily throw it up. But fair play to Ali. He did it again. McBride came down. Probably was there for him to hit, but just got under it. A good catch from Delaney. Set himself and took it reverse hands. But a brilliant partnership. A great knock from the skipper, McBride.
In comes McBride to deserved applause for wonderful innings. That partnership 97 off 9.5 overs, just half of the Northwest Warriors innings they batted. They went at exactly 10 and over. Super partnership from those two. We have game on here in Sydney Parade.
Yeah, and I said it a couple of overs ago, the Reds will feel that if they can take a wicket or two now, you know, they're still in the hunt. They're 5 wickets down. They're 113 for 5. If they can get Gillespie out in the next couple of overs, they'll feel like they can bowl them out. So the Reds are back in this game now. It's been a brilliant start to this festival this weekend. But Gillespie's still motoring on 52.
Ali will be delighted with that. What kind of a spin bowler would you call Yacoub? He's not really a leggy, he's not really an offie, he's a bit of a mystery spinner. What does he do? Have you faced him much?
I think he just mixes his pace up. He bowls quite slowly. He's pretty accurate. I've not played against him a great deal, but he's an accurate enough spinner that you can set fields to it. He's not afraid, like we've just seen, he's not afraid to throw it up and take that risk of being hit out of the ground if he can get a wicket. So yeah, he's an accurate spinner. He's not a massive turner of the ball. He's not going to bowl teams out with 7 or 8 for us, but he's accurate and he bowls a good line and length,
which is just what you need in 2020 cricket. New man in at the crease now is Rishi Chopra. Rishi, known originally as a spinner himself, I think he'll probably fill more of an all-rounders role here today. He takes strike to Ali. Just worked away for 1. They probably won't come back for 2 here. Aaron Gillespie's going to be the key here, really, for the Warriors to push up towards that maybe 180 mark. What do you think?
Yeah, he's got to bat the 20 overs. If he bats the 20 overs, the Warriors get a very competitive total. Chopper will be aware of that. He's probably looking to get as many singles as he can and get Gillespie on strike, but at this moment in time, Gillespie doesn't really need to do anything sillier.
A ball by Ali, just worked out to point, well fielded, top ball. It's going to end the 14th over, 14 gone, and the Northwest Warriors are 115 for 5. And can we talk just a little bit about last week? I obviously don't want to run into a full autopsy of the week, but we're playing against probably the best 2020 side in the world. How was the week? What did you learn? Obviously, spin seemed to be the key. Their spinners are outstanding, let alone to mention their 6-hitting power. What did you take from the week?
It was obviously a great week to be part of, similar to the test match, to be part of an historic series like that and get 2, 10,000, 9,000, whatever it was, sellout games in front of a packed crowd. Probably the best atmosphere I've played in, never mind in Ireland, but all around the world. And
even including the World Cup?
Yeah, I think so. I think whenever
worked away for 1, just 1 second, Andy, and the throw is going to come in from the deep, just 1.
Whenever we played in Malahide, there hasn't necessarily always been a tremendous atmosphere, and whenever we played in the World Cup, you're playing in massive stadiums, but you're not even quarter filling the place out, so it doesn't feel like a great atmosphere.
In comes Benton again, looks for the slog sweep, big trouble here. It's gone a long way up. Deep square comes in, Jones, and he's grassed it. That's gone down. Gillespie gets a life, and could well hurt Munster. Yeah,
his second drop of the afternoon. His first one proved pretty crucial when McBride hit straight to him, but it's gone up a while. It's a loose shot from Gillespie, a shot he doesn't need to play at all. He must be aware now that he has to bat through.
Benton's bowled well here, and he comes again, giving it lots of flight. Worked away, could be 2 towards deep long on. Gillespie looks and says no. So those 2 games in Malahide, huge occasions, massive crowds, but just the results we didn't want, and we certainly would have, even if we weren't going to look to win the games, we would have looked to be a lot more competitive than we were.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a form of the game we haven't played well enough at all in our last 2 or 3 years, probably since the qualifiers. We're probably not playing enough of it internationally, and it's tough because it's a game that we need to be need to be up to speed with. We're obviously bottom of the rankings at the moment, which is not where we want to be, but I think if we were to play a string of games against teams in and around our level, we'd probably come out with good results. And you know, we're trying things in the order, and you know, we're probably not playing enough T20 cricket as it is, you know, domestically either.
So is something like this, the T20 festival, the inaugural T20 festival, is this a good idea? I think this is a good concept. 6 games in 3 days. Is this going to help raise the standard of
Yeah,
T20 cricket?
I think so. And the more days like this we have, the better. It's great. It's a great competition as it is, but as with the 3-day competition and the 1-day competition, there's just not enough games.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a cost to these games and all that, but I think if we want to take the national side, particularly in T20 cricket, to the next level and compete with teams like India, you know, we can't really expect to go from playing club cricket to the odd T20 game for Leinster to then go out and play against India. Guys who are playing, you know, full IPL seasons, and guys who are at the top of their game and world beaters. Like, it's just not going to happen. We might get the odd performance like James Shannon getting a 60 last week and Peter Chase getting 3 wickets in an over, but you know, to be actually competitive, we're not playing nearly enough of the cricket to compete with them, and I think it's unrealistic to think that we can compete if that's the only cricket we're playing. So it was obviously disappointing not to put on good performances in front of the crowd, but you know, we're also realistic in the fact that we need to be playing more cricket and working hard on our skills.
I suppose the big thing is building up to the World T20 qualifiers. As David Delaney returns for his final over, he's worked away towards fine leg. Just a single good piece of fielding at fine leg. He's got 3 overs, 2 for 24 at the moment. Have you been impressed by Delaney? We talk about, you know, this weekend possibly scouting new talent. Is he somebody who might be able to play a role in 2020 cricket for Ireland?
Yeah, he was part of the group last week, and it was a brilliant
first time in the squad.
Yeah,
wasn't
brilliant
it?
experience for him. I think he loved it. He was running on drinks and he was bowling out in the middle and in the nets to the Indians. So that'll give his confidence a world of good. He's obviously got raw talent. We just need to harness that. And I think Graham Ford and Rob Castle are doing a great job with him, and I think even Ed Joyce as well. They're kind of taking him under his wing and realise it's a talent that, you know, doesn't happen every year, and it's just, we need to harness that and make sure that he wants to play for Ireland and he's ready to play for Ireland.
And can I ask you, going around the domestic scene here in Irish cricket, you know, whether it be the club game or the interprovincial game, would he be as quick a bowler as there is currently, or is he right up there?
Yeah, he's quick. He's not like, I mean, he's still raw, but he's quick. Like, he's not absolutely rapid, but he's quick. He's quicker than anything we have. Probably on par with maybe, you know, Boydie or someone like that. But he's young and he's enthusiastic. So the more players like that we can bring into the squad and slowly, you know, filter into the squad, the better. But from when I've seen him, he's an impressive guy. He's
looks a very fit young man as well. Yeah,
he is. Yeah, and you know, bowling is not easy, particularly in 3-day cricket and stuff like that. So he's obviously well suited. And he comes again to Gillespie. Could be 2. They've got to look for 2 here. Comes into the deep. He turns. He's gone. In comes the throw, and the run out was never really on there. That brings the score up to 125. Just 4 overs after this one, and you'd have to think that the Warriors are going to perhaps target the remaining 2 overs of, it might be Sorensen, it might be Barnes. They're the two bowlers with 2 overs left each. They'll probably bowl the last 4, you'd suspect, would you? Yeah, I would have thought so. Just shows that drop catch there out in the boundary of Gillespie. If they'd had 2 new men in here with bowlers like Delaney and Sorensen to come, could have been a different story. Looks for the ramp. Could be a run out chance now. They scamper through for 1. Big boy, Warriors camp happy with that, up to 126 for 5. Very difficult to talk about power scores, particularly on the first usage of a new deck here in Pembroke, but in 2020 cricket you always want to be looking north of 150, really, don't you? Yeah, there hasn't been too many high scoring games, I don't think, this year in the competition. Particularly, I mean, we played a game in Breedy and defended 99. So extraordinary match. Yeah, it was, and the wickets have been okay. We got 160 up in Shaw's Bridge on a good wicket, but we played Munster here, got 160. So you defended that quite comfortably, didn't you? Yeah, short and wide. The square leg umpire Steve Wood signals to Paul Reynolds that should be a wide for height reasons. Yeah, we'll know more at the end of this game. It's looked a pretty good wicket. I think the first 4 wickets weren't really down to the wicket. There was a run out obviously involved, a couple of loose shots. Looked like one very good delivery from Delaney as well that got through the defences. Yeah, full and straight, did the job, but Gillespie and McBride made it look like a good pitch. There was nothing really that you thought, wow, this
Very
pitch.
good carry through to the keeper as well.
Yeah, and I said it to Peter earlier, those 2 top wickets on the square were relayed a couple of years ago and by far the best.
And he comes. Oh, he's looked to go through covers, Chopra, but he's got the classic Chinese cut. Well fielded down at fine leg, just a single. He actually retains the strike, Chopra, and it's going to be the end of the 16th, and that's 128 for 5.
After 16 overs, Northwest Warriors are now 128 for 5.
You see the first of the Northern Knights arriving through the gate here, Andy. Obviously, game 2 of the series will be 4 o'clock today. That's going to be the Leinster Lightning against the Northern Knights, captained by James Shannon. James had quite a special week last week, 60 T20I best. What did he take from that week? I'm sure you were chatting to him about it. He must have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think so. I think tried the reverse sweep chop, but lack of pace from Ali, and he's basically just reverse sweeped it onto his stumps. Good time to get a wicket going into the last 4 overs. Gillespie still there on 59, but Chopra goes trying the reverse sweep for 6.
Yeah, and that brings the score to 128 for 6. Warriors do not want wickets now, but that's just what the Reds want. The Reds looking highly competitive today, and you'd have to think with some of the new faces on show, Oliver Gunning to come in to open the batting, they may well fancy their chances of picking up a first win of the Hanley Energy T20 Interprovincial Trophy. James Shannon last week, 60. I think it was off 33 balls.
Yeah, played beautifully. He obviously got a couple of chances early on, but that's what it's about in T20. You get a couple of chances and you make the most of it, and he hit a couple of beautiful shots, some big sixes, and he'll take huge confidence from that. He's kind of been in and out of the squad for the last couple of years since he's come back into the setup. So he's a batsman with high class and a lot of talent. So it's something that hopefully he can push on from that and start putting in performances for Ireland on a regular basis.
And his opening partner, Paul Sterling, who was in such imperious form last night, unfortunately failed both times. But I think with those two at the top of the order, it brings a real quality of ball striking to us in the T20 format, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And I mentioned earlier, Stuart Thompson had been opening for the last few games and done a brilliant job. So we've got a lot of options there in that top order, and particularly opening. But yeah, when you've got someone in the class of Paul Sterling, you want him to get going, because if he gets going, it sets the tone, and he's probably done that for a number of years now at the top of the order. His presence has sort of set the tone for us, and unfortunately it didn't happen for him last week, but like you said, he played an incredible innings last night at Lord's.
Man of the match, 60 odd, and 3 for with his off spin, which is impressing. Graham Kennedy, the new man at the wicket, as Yaqub Ali continues, the left-hander, number 6 on his back. Quite an impressive under-19 World Cup, I believe, last year, and he's just come into the Warrior squad this season.
Yeah, and he's been good whenever we played against him with both bat and ball. Seems like a talented cricketer, bowls good left arm seam, good skills, takes the pace off, got good variations and can hit a ball as well. But he's faced a couple of dots here now, and he'll probably feel a bit under the pump.
Pressure building. Ali will be disappointed with that leg side. May have just clipped the pad. And Steve Wood does not signal wide. In comes Ali again. Stubbed away, almost yorked himself, worked for 1. But a super over from Yaqub Ali.
Yeah, and it's not the worst.
The wicket, and he's going to end with his 4 overs with 2 for 27. Super spell of bowling.
Yeah, and the Reds will be delighted with that last single to get Kennedy on strike in the 17th over. Gillespie's obviously the key man and the dangerous man in this period, and the runs have dried up a bit. My 143 potentially coming back into the game.
We'd need 3 very dry final overs, and with pace back on the ball, most likely looks like Jared Barnes is going to come back to finish his 2 from the Sandymount end here. Jared Barnes has looked impressive. He's up bowled his 2 overs for 8. Tall man. Have you played against him in club cricket yet?
Played against him, yeah. Played against YMCA at the start of the year. I've been more impressed with him in the 3-day championship that we've played. He's played both of our games. 2 out of our 3 games, and he's just bowled with great control and done a bit with the ball. And I think he played in North Down and he played Embridi and bowled very well over the 2 days. So he's someone I didn't know anything about before this season, but from what I've seen, he's been very impressive. I haven't seen him in white. It's the first time I've seen him in white ball cricket, but in 3-day cricket and red ball cricket, he's been excellent.
We'll see how he goes here, and he comes again from the Sandymount end. A little bit leg side, just clips the pad, and that's going to be another dot. Reds really clawing back some control. They need to get Gillespie on strike here.
Yeah, it's been a funny game. It's kind of been three parts. You've had the start, which was all Reds, and the middle, which was all Warriors, and now this sort of back end of it is feeling like it's going to go the Reds' way. It's obviously still 2 and a bit over SCO, but the Reds have pulled this back well from a position where they weren't sort of in the game in that middle period with McBride and Gillespie.
No boundary for 23 balls. Kennedy looks down the ground. Very well struck, but very well fielded it long off by David Delaney. At least it gets Gillespie back on strike. It's up to 130 for 6 now. And with just 16 balls remaining, the Reds are just bringing a bit of control back into this game, and the Warriors are going to need to look to Gillespie for a huge finish to their innings here.
Fine leg is up. Deep cover, deep square leg, and the 2 men back straight. He does play the ramp, Gillespie. Could be something he looks to do to Barnes here.
Down the track, hit through cover. Beautiful shot coming directly towards us. That runs away for 4, right next to our commentary position. Glorious shot that.
Yeah, a bit of a free shot. It was a full toss. Gillespie could have put it wherever he wanted, and he picked that deep extra boundary. I'd like to see the extra cover a bit straighter. There is a gap here between Sorensen and Jones. Extra cover's directly behind or in front of us. I'd like to see him on the ring and a bit straighter. If he hits one out deep, covers right and gets to 4, it's a brilliant shot, but it's just a bit of a free shot that with a full toss, but well put away by Gillespie.
Gillespie moves to 63 as Barnes comes in. Looks for that ramp that Andy called about, and he's played it absolutely brilliantly. He's worked that away for 4. Talk about the commentator's curse. What about the commentator's call?
Yeah, you can see what Barnes is trying to do. He's trying to bowl Yorkers. He's just missed out, and it's a small margin game in T20 cricket when you're bowling Yorkers. If you miss it short, it's going to be in the slot. If you miss it full, it's going to be a full toss. And Gillespie's just put those 2 away with ease, and my 143 is slowly starting to drift away.
Back-to-back boundaries moves Gillespie onto 67. 138 for 6. Barnes in. Short ball. Pulled, but a top edge down towards fine leg. And well fielded. Just a single. Bring Kennedy back onto strike. It'll be a wonderful weekend here at Pembroke. We've got all sorts of goodies in the crowd. We've got the ice cream van. I can see he's just arrived there, Andy. That's crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not like you to sniff out an ice cream van.
As ever. And the barbecues will be fired. We've also got a really special promotion tomorrow for Super Saturday, so we hope wherever you are in Dublin or Ireland you can get down to Pembroke Cricket Club tomorrow. Super Saturday is going to see draws to not only win the wonderful prize of a Leinster Lightning training session for your club, but also the crucial 2 Michael Bublé tickets tomorrow going. Yorker from Barnes, worked away brilliantly by Kennedy. Behind point, that's going to run away for 4.
Yeah, and you just have to look at Barnes' expression there. He's actually nailed his Yorker. The first Yorker he's nailed this over, but Kennedy's just given himself a bit of room, and brilliant hands has just slapped that by past points right. And this outfield is it's going to take a lot of bowlers with it this weekend. It's absolutely rapid. All you have to do is put a bit of bat in it, and that's what Kennedy's done. And 143 for 6 with 2 overs to go. 2 maidens.
14 from that over from Jared Barnes, and it just goes to show a bowler like him who might come in and hit a length at the top of the innings. He bowled 2 overs for 8, and that third over his has gone for 14, and now he's still got to bowl a final over at the death. What's the real skills required for a fast bowler at the death? What makes the difference between a good bowler with the new ball up top and a good bowler right at the death, where it's arguably the hardest part of the game to bowl?
Yeah, I think variation's key. What I said earlier about Rob Castle drilling in slower balls to our seamers, knuckle balls, slower balls out of the back of the hand, Yorkers, those sort of things that, bowling a different ball almost every ball, it's particularly at the death.
Sorensen returns short and wide, and given as a wide by umpire Steve Wood.
But it's definitely a confidence thing, I think, as well. Like, a lot of these guys wouldn't have bowled a lot of slower balls, which is fair enough, but I think Rob has certainly come in and said, look, this is something we need to be better at. We saw it last week. The Indians bowled a lot of knuckle balls, and they're basically balls that are coming out the same with the seam up, but you're just not picking it because they've taken the pace off it.
Comes Sorensen again. Oh, it's a glorious cover drive. He's leant back on that, and with the fast outfield, it's not quite going to run away. Well fielded in the deep. They won't look for 3 because they'll look to keep Kennedy on strike. Max probably looking for the Yorker there, but that's ended up a little bit in the slot, hasn't it?
Yeah, they've just been a bit off with their Yorkers here. Like I said, the last over, Jared Barnes hit his Yorker, but it still went for 4. Aaron Gillespie moves on to 70, and that drop at deep square leg 3 or 4 overs ago is proven costly here for the Reds, as the Warriors are moving closer to 150 and certainly a competitive score in this first game, having lost the toss.
Just a change in the field there. Sorensen's decided to bring up third man and put back deep cow corner. In he comes. Will it be the short ball? Slower delivery that you just talked about. Very well bowled, well executed. Dot ball.
Yeah, and this is the sort of thing you talk about. I mean, as a batsman, Gillespie's probably seen the man go out deep mid wicket there, and he's probably thought it's going to be a short ball, but Sorensen double bluffs it, bowls a full slower ball. So it's smart bowling from Max, and that's the sort of skills that I was talking about. Just being able to back yourself to bowl a slower ball and set your own fields and take it upon yourself to change the field in certain positions.
Max from the top end, and he comes. Oh, that's a glorious strike down the track. Hits straight as a die, and you can't have fielders there. Crashes into the side screen. 4 more. 150 is up for the Warriors.
Yeah, big SMC print and design. Took a bashing there at the side screen. Brilliant shot from Gillespie. Great use of the feet. Knocks it down the ground for 4, and the Warriors move to 150.
You talked to us just briefly, Andy, about Max's Ireland career. I know whilst John Bracewell was coach, he may have announced his retirement, but I believe he's back available for selection now. The last time he played was the ICC World 2020 in Dharamsala. Do you think he's been a bit unlucky to not come back into the setup?
Yeah, I think like I obviously don't know what goes on behind the scenes, whether Max had a conversation with the powers to be and maybe they told him that he wouldn't be in their thoughts. I really don't know, but
he didn't bowl last year, did he?
No, he had shoulder issues, and this is his first full season bowling. He can obviously hit a ball very far, which we'll probably see this weekend.
Super fielder as well. He offers a lot to something like the T20 format. Short from Sorensen worked away into the leg side, just the single there. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's something Graham Ford's he's come in and he's kind of just brought a fresh pair of eyes to it. He's not come in knowing many people, so he's just gone, right, I'm going to watch cricket and I'm going to see who's impressing me, and whoever does impress me will get a chance. And I think we've seen that in the squads that have been picked throughout the summer. In the test match, you saw Nathan Smith and Tyrone Kane come from nowhere, with all due respect to them. They weren't involved in any of the contracts. And Graham Ford liked what he saw in trial games and Interpros, and he brought them in. So I think it's great for young players to come into games like this and go, well, if I do get a score, I know Graham Ford's going to be there because he watches a lot of cricket. So if he likes to look at me, I'll probably get a chance.
I suppose what that bringing the fourth side in Munster is extending the pool talent. Super slower ball from Max. A little bit unlucky possibly to be signalled wide. That might have just been outside the tram lines. That's what umpire Steve Wood says. And he's going to have to bowl that one again. But the fourth side in Munster has really brought that to the game, hasn't it? And it's brought an extended pool of players. We're going to get a look at the likes of Oliver Gunning from YMCA, Jared Barnes, we've seen bowling quite impressively. And it's probably just extending that pool of players who might go on to play for Ireland. Bowled him. Brilliant Yorker. Max delighted with that. He finishes out his spell with a wicket. And that wide didn't cost him anything except for it added 1 wicket to his column. Kennedy goes for 6. Northwest Warriors 152 for 7.
Yeah, full and straight does the trick for Max. Good over for Max. He varied his pace quite well, bowled slower balls, bowled bouncers, tried things. A couple of wides given, but he tried them, and that's what I think coaches want. He wants their players trying things, whether Yorkers or wide Yorkers. Craig Young now coming in, who can hit a big ball. Maybe not seen as much of him as we like over the years, but Craig is someone who can, if he gets hold of the ball, it certainly goes a long way. But yeah, like you said, I think with 4 teams in it, I think, obviously Munster in it, and you want Munster players in it. But at the end of the day, from my point of view, I think you need the 44 best players in the country playing.
Absolutely.
I think for the Reds, it'd be great to see them in the one-day competition. I'd like to see more games in the one-day competition, more games in the T20, 3-day games going to 4-day games. These are all things that hopefully in the next few years and the younger guys coming into teams can have to look forward to. I moved back a couple of years ago and I came straight into this, and it's been superb. It's been brilliantly well organised. Days like this, live streamed, this is an experience that wasn't around when I was 18 and 19, and now you have kids coming in playing on YouTube and playing in front of a packed crowd, and that's brilliant as Barnes starts the last over of this innings.
Slower ball to start, driven down the ground by Gillespie. I thought he might try to push for 2, but he realises that David Delaney's about as good a fielder as the Munster Reds have, and that's a crucial fielding position these days in T20. Long on, you tend to put your best fielder down in that position, don't you?
Yeah, long on, long off. All the boundary riders really. I mean, the guys in the ring are just sitting on the ring and just saving the boundary. They don't mind singles being taken
at this stage of the innings.
No, at this stage of the innings. So you want your best fielders in your best positions, the guys who are going to be quick around the boundary and the guys who can catch. So Craig Young coming in, and Barnes brings in mid-off into the ring and puts out third man. So Craig Young will be looking to go big here. Barnes running in. And he goes big over extra
Good
cover.
strike.
Brilliant shot. First shot for Craig Young. First ball for Craig Young. He gives himself a bit of room and hits it over extra cover for 4. Great start for Craig Young.
Big long levers from Craig Young. That was the key there. Little bit in the slot. I think Barnes searching for the Yorker again. But Craig Young will be delighted with that. More importantly, the Northwest Warriors will be delighted with that. 157 for 7. Can they get over that 160 mark here? Maybe even push up towards 170 with a few big strikes. He's looked slightly agricultural there towards Cow, but well struck. And it gets Gillespie back onto strike. Just the single. Barnes won't mind singles at this stage, nor will the Munster Reds skipper Jeremy Benton. Just 3 balls remain. 158 for 7.
Just looking at Gillespie's options, we've seen him lap, we've seen him hit over extra, so I reckon they are the 2 shots he'll probably be looking at here, straight down the ground, either or. Barnes coming in. Well bowled. Into the turf, into the pitch, slower ball from Barnes, very well bowled, very well executed.
And even for a man like Gillespie, who's batted almost the entire innings and is on 76 not out, he couldn't get that away. I think we could see a little bit more of that throughout the coming days, particularly as the pitch starts to wear. Slower balls into the pitch, always an effective option.
Yeah, with the feel that he has, deep square leg, deep mid wicket and long on, it's a fairly safe delivery in terms of keeping a boundary down, unless he absolutely nails it. But Barnes is turning into quite a good over.
Another beautiful slower ball. It's obviously, you talk about not only the field, but it's the bigger side of the ground as well. The rope almost the whole way out towards the railway line here in Sandymount, and that's got to be, what, a 75-yard hit or something about that?
Yeah, particularly in club cricket, you wouldn't see a lot of 6s being hit out there. It's certainly the biggest boundary out where Robert Forrest is there. Deep square leg is certainly probably the biggest boundary on this ground. So, brilliant slower balls from Jar Barnes. That last one, the back of the hand, usually when it comes out of the back of the hand, it comes out seam up. So it looks as if it's coming out like a normal delivery, but brilliant skills from Jar Barnes here in this final over.
Final ball of the innings. Swung away. Ali's misfielded. Could go all the way, and it's run away for 4. Yaqub Ali be very disappointed with that. Jared Barnes will be disappointed with that. And that boundary rounds off the Northwest Warriors innings. 162 for 7. And that's got to be just around par, do you think, Andy? Or it's very hard to call at this stage?
Yeah, I think it's a score the Warriors would have absolutely taken at the start of this innings. They were 20 odd for 4 after 6, 30 odd for 4 after 6. So to get 162, Aaron Gillespie's played an absolute gem of an innings there. 80 not out, hit it all around the ground. He's going to stroll off with a red inker, and he's played brilliant. He deserves a big round of applause here from the Warriors men.
And Craig Young made sure to run off to give Aaron Gillespie, allow him the ovation he deserves. We'll just run through the batting card now. We will have some graphics for you in a little bit as well, but I'll just run through it by voice. The final score is 162 for 7 after 20 overs. Porterfield and Rankins, the openers, gone for 5 and 2. Stuart Thompson gone for 2, bowled by Delaney. William McClintock very unluckily run out. Super direct hit that was, Andy, wasn't it, for 6. Andy McBride played a real captain's knock, 37 off 25. The star of the show, though, at number 6, Aaron Gillespie, 80 not out off 55 balls, 9 boundary 4s and 2 6s. Rishi Chopra bowled for 6. And Graham Kennedy bowled for 6 as well. Craig Young ended up not out, only faced 2 balls, 5 not out. And the Warriors 162 for 7. Will that be a winning score, Andy? That's what I want to ask you.
Yeah, and we just go through the bowlers as well. Benton 1 for 23 off 4, opened the bowling with his left arm spin. Jared Barnes, who bowled up final over, none for 32 off 4. Probably deserved a bit more. David Delaney 2 for 30 off 4, 2 wickets and an over in that first 6. Max Sorensen 1 for 32 off 3, didn't finish his 4 overs. Will they regret that? Senan Jones, none for 17 off 1, could have been a lot different. Got a drop catch on his first ball. Andy McBride could have made a difference. And Yaqub Ali 2 for 27 off 4, brilliant spell from him.
So we're going to have a little bit of a break now. We should bring you up some graphics shortly with the full Northwest Warriors card, but I'd just like to thank Andy for his not 10 over commentary stint, but 20 over commentary stint. And I think before a game, that's more than enough. We'll go and let you get a good break for the second innings. Good luck this afternoon, and we might talk to you at the very end of the day as a little bit of a wrap-up.
Thank you very much, Len. Cheers.
So for now, from Sydney Pride and Pembroke, we will leave you and we'll be joining you again in 10 minutes. Here's the scorecard on screen for you. Enjoy that, and we'll be back with you in about 10 minutes' time. Welcome back to Sydney Parade. You're joining me, Andrew Leonard, as we get ready for the second innings of the first match of the Hanley Energy T20 Festival here at Pembroke Cricket Club. We've got a wonderful weekend lined up, and what a start to this weekend we've had. The Northwest Warriors made 162 for 7 off their 20 overs. And it was all pinned around a wonderful innings of 80 from Aaron Gillespie. Off just 55 balls. He was well supported by the skipper, Andy McBride, who made 37 in a record 5th wicket partnership for the tournament, in fact. And this is the first of 6 games over 3 days between these 4 teams. And at the moment we have the second placed Northwest Warriors trying to defend this total against the 4th placed Munster Reds. And it's going to be Craig Young with the ball from the Sydney Parade end. In he comes. Very lucky to be joined by an Irish international for the next 10 overs. Very welcome to James Shannon. James, how are you?
Good, thanks, Lenny. This is a fantastic 3 days. Really looking forward to the festival. I think it's a brilliant incentive from Cricket Ireland, and fair play to Pembroke for putting on such a fantastic show. Looks brilliant.
And the first thing I need to ask you, we have you down listed on the squad list on the Leinster website and the NCU website as young balls a wide down the leg side as the captain for this weekend for the Northern Knights, but I believe you're not going to be playing any cricket at all. Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, unfortunately I sort of picked up a wee niggle in my quad in a club game there at the weekend, and I think it might be about 3 weeks until I'm back out again. So unfortunately, what a couple of days to miss out on. I'm gutted.
But are you down for the full weekend to join us?
I hope so. I would definitely aim to be. So I just have to wait and see.
In comes Young. Young works that away towards, the batsman works it away towards third man, Stephen Doheny. And it's going to be a first ball in the Interprovincial Series for Oliver Gunning. Oliver, Australian by birth, but with Irish connections to YMCA Cricket Club, called into the Munster Reds. Have you seen anything of Oliver?
I'm actually really looking forward to seeing him. I've heard a bit about him through Harry Tector and Jack, and I've heard he's got a good amount of potential, a young lad. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes up here against Craig. Obviously fresh off an excellent fifer during the week against the Knights. So.
Tell us a bit about that night squad who came in for you, and we have 13 names down here, but I presume that's 12 without you, is it?
Yeah, so Ali Shields has come into the side. He's a hard hitting opening bat. He's
wonderful shot by Oliver Gunning. What a first ball in interprovincial cricket in Ireland. Short worked away through the leg side. Steve Wood signals for perfect start for Munster.
Yeah, it was dismissive, wasn't it? Really banged in by Craig, and the young man's easily hit him there through midwicket. It was a lovely shot. Do
you think Craig was trying to welcome him to interprovincial cricket, saying, "We know you're on debut here"?
Yeah, it is a bit of Craig Young. He's a bit of a fiery bowler, so whenever he sees a new young lad, I'm sure he's not shy in throwing him one.
And he comes
again, the same result.
Short again, pulled away. It's almost actually a carbon copy. It may well have hit the same Cairn Holmes advertising board. Short, probably too short on this pitch, and Munster off to a flyer.
100%. Fantastic shot there by the young lad. Obviously from Australia, he's probably well used to playing against a short ball, so I'm sure Craig's not going to have to rethink his plans. It's a bit tricky chase this from Munster. I was speaking to a couple of the Northwest guys at the break, and they thought that 162 would have been par.
He's gone short again.
3 in a row.
I'm going to have to call that a trifecta, Shano. I've never seen anything quite like it. That one hit the Lewis Hone Williams advertising board. The first 2 hit the Cairn Holmes PLC board, but we have had 3 short balls, 3 boundaries. Munster Reds 14 for none.
Yeah, often absolute flyer. I suppose chasing a total like 162, you want to get off to a good start and make use of that first 6 overs. And if the young lad keeps going like this, Munster will get off to a flyer.
Pitch looks good. It looks to have good carry. I think the most effective delivery seemed to be the slower balls in the first innings.
Yeah, I saw a couple there towards the end of the towards the 4 more.
Unbelievable cricket from Oliver Gunning. He has faced 4 balls in interprovincial cricket, and he has hit 4 boundaries. They are off to the perfect start, Munster. They're 18 for none at the end of the first over. Oliver Gunning, what a start for him.
That was a lovely shot. They just let the ball come into him there and just played it nicely. Just waited on it, timed it through the gap. What a great start. I'll give him a lot of confidence. So yeah, but back just on the changes of pace, it looked as if certainly the slower balls, a few from Jared Barnes and from Max Sorensen, sort of stuck in the wicket a bit. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly the Northwest will go to that. They have a lot of experience, and I'm sure they'll be able to pick up on those change-ups quite quickly.
Just a little bit of background on Oliver Gunning for the viewers. He plays his grade cricket in Melbourne. I think it's with the Melbourne Cricket Club. Plays a lot of first grade down there. He's had 2 seasons now with YMCA. Seems to be the kind of cricketer who either gets a high score or a low score, but I suppose as someone who's an opener yourself, you might experience that. How do you deal with something like that, where you're either getting 80 or 100 each week, or you're getting 0 to 10?
I think you just have to take the good days with the bad, and you know that as an opener you are going to have days where you nick off, or the bowler bowls you a good delivery, and I suppose whenever you do get in, it's really cashing in. So
Scanlon into the attack from the Sandymount end to open the bowling for the Northwest Warriors. That's just worked away nicely by Stephen Doherty, just off his legs towards deep square leg, behind deep square leg in fact, and that's 2. Munster really looking to take advantage of the power play here, aren't they?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Stephen Doherty. I saw him in Cork. We played against him a few weeks ago, and he struck the ball really nicely. He's a lovely technique. I think he's going to be a real one for the future.
Can you talk to me a little bit now as Scanlon comes in again, please, James, about Davy Scanlon? He is he's a fella who's had a super start to his interprovincial career. He's a guy who some might have thought, oh God, he might not be up to it. He's just a club cricketer stepping up to interprovincial cricket. But if you look at his record, particularly in the 3-day stuff, he's been outstanding for the Warriors.
He's really impressive. He's much skiddier than you think. He gets a nice amount of way shape, and then he does have a natural ball that sort of tails back in at the right hander. He's a dangerous customer, and we've certainly found he always picks up handy wickets for them, and often it's 3 or 4 wickets, at least in a game, especially in the 4-day stuff. He doesn't quite have the same amount of shape with the white ball, but he does have some good skills.
And were you at the game this week at North Down? Obviously a short and wide. Gunning looks to continue his streak of 4s, but he misses out there. Just a dot ball, well bowled Scanlon. Yeah. And were you at the game this week? It was obviously a little bit disappointing for the Knights.
It was disappointing. We played some good cricket, but credit to the Northwest. They really took their opportunities, and they nailed home the advantage whenever they got on top with the bat and then with the ball.
Just to interrupt you, we missed the no ball signal by Paul Reynolds there, which must have been for the front foot overstepping. So here comes a free hit to Gunning. He's going to enjoy this. Slower ball from Scanlon, pulled out to square leg. He seems to like that pull shot. Just one bounce for a single.
100%. Just picking up the length there really quickly. Interesting though, the Scanlon's gone. I know it was a free hit, but he's gone to the slower ball straight away. I'd say that'll be the theme for their seamers now for the rest of the 20 overs.
Just 1.3 overs gone, and we're already 23 for none. In comes Scanlon again. Oh, that's a glorious shot. That's an absolutely sensational shot from Stephen Doherty. The rush man off the back foot punches it through, and it flies away towards the deep cover boundary. 4 more for Munster.
I think this is really going to suit Stephen Doherty. Obviously, the pitch is good. The outfield is really quick, and he just has to sort of lean on the ball and time it through the gap. He'll get value for his shots.
So going back to that 3-day game this week, it must have been unbelievably frustrating, the 10th wicket partnership for the Knights. Davy Scanlon making a maiden first class 50.
Yeah, credit to him. He did play well. I mean, I suppose a few of our, they were it felt like they were batting on the M1 at one point. The pitch was that flat, and we weren't really getting a huge amount out of the wicket or in the air or any real assistance. So I mean, but credit to Davy. He is a bit of a character, and it was nice to see him get a few runs. I think he rates himself now as
a bit of a batter. Yeah, no, I think he's been quite vocal with that on social media this week. His Instagram game's been up, the maiden first class 50, and that's short and wide and cut away by Doherty. Those boundary boards on the cover boundary are taking a serious hammering down the Pembroke wall. There are just 2 overs gone, and believe it or not, Munster Reds are 31 for none.
Fantastic start by Munster. It's some really impressive batting so far. They've capitalised on the bad ball, I think, though, but their mindset seems to be really positive, and they are always looking to score. It looks like Andy McBride is he coming into the attack?
Yeah, the Northwest Warriors skipper might be thinking that spin is the way to go. Traditionally, I'm a Pembroke member. Spin is the way to go down in Pembroke. But with the first use of this wicket, you would have thought that Craig Young and Scanlon would have got a little bit of assistance from the new white ball. But Andy McBride's taking the ball into his own hands. Do you think this is a good move?
Absolutely. I think the skipper obviously looking to lead from the front here. We saw a couple of balls there from Yaqub Ali in the first innings, which seemed to sort of stick and grip in the wicket. So, and even though the ball is new, it might offer him a little bit more assistance. Interesting to see what pace Andy bowls here.
McBride from the Sydney Parade end.
And straight away.
And Gunning is gone. It was a short-lived cameo and debut, and he's gone for 17. Just short of a length. Looked like it might have been an underedge through to the keeper. Very good catch.
Yeah, I was just saying there, it would be interesting to see what pace Andy bowled with, and it was a little bit slower. Slightly back of length, a good length in 2020 cricket. It's that in-between length. You can't really get back, you can't really get forward to it. And but I was impressed there. I know Gunning, he's only faced a few balls, but he looked the part.
He's gone. He's gone for 17 off just 7 balls. And we're going to have the new batsman. It's going to be Nicholas Pistorius from the Hills Cricket Club. And Gunning's gone for 17. He looks disappointed, but God, he did show what he could do at this level.
Absolutely, glimpses. You see there's clear talent there. Massive wicket that for the Northwest. The guys are always aiming to sort of pick up 1 or 2 wickets in the first 6 to try and just sort of bring the run rate back down. So it'll be interesting to see what happens now.
It looks also like it's a catch on debut for the Northwest Warriors wicketkeeper Marcus Poskett. He's a very young lad, 17 or 18.
Yeah, I haven't seen him before. I'll be interested to see how he goes. That was a good catch, so standing up's always a good judge of a keeper if he's good up to the stumps.
So as an opening batsman in 2020, it's obviously so different to all other formats of cricket. It's something like that where you get 17 off 7. Are you almost happier with that than maybe a 15 off 25?
Yeah, 100%. I think obviously batting up there in the top 6, your job is to try and to get boundaries and get the team off to a good start. And the biggest thing is that you don't want to waste balls. So
particularly in that power play, the first 6 overs with the fielding restrictions.
100%. Yeah. So Gunning will obviously be disappointed, but it's got Munster off to a flyer, and they're that if they bat properly now, they'll be thereabouts.
McBride in again. He's just found a lovely length already, hasn't he? Yet to have a run scored against him, and he's got his wicket. So the captain showing how it's done and leading from the front.
Yeah, this is the thing, and especially in 2020, it's a very it's a ruthless format, and nicely played.
He's gone straight to the sweep down towards us in our commentary position here, hits the rope and loops over. That's going to be 4 more, and I think Munster are going to live by the sword and die by the sword here today.
Yeah, I like that mentality. I think it's a good way to play. I think if you obviously if you come off, you're going to win more games probably than lose. So, but it was just I was just saying that one over or 2 overs can quickly change the game. So I think the Northwest will be hoping that they can get maybe 1 more wicket and a couple of tight overs, and then the game will be back in the balance.
McBride in again. Another dot. 1 ball to come in the over. It's been a really interesting addition to the competition, the Reds. They haven't won a huge number of games, but they've certainly added to it, and I think the 4th team has brought a new dimension. What's been the talk around the Irish camp? Has that been a good addition to the interprovincial, the T20 side of the interprovincial competition?
100%. I think it's obviously you want to play firstly as many games as possible, and there's obviously so much talent down in Dublin that with the Leinster, how strong the Leinster team is, that some of these good younger players are now getting an opportunity to play for Munster, as well as being having some local Munster players being exposed to this level. I think it is a great thing, and I think that it would just be nice now to play more games.
And of course we've seen, I don't want to call them franchises just yet, but we've seen the movement of players, and you've had 2 young Dublin players come up the road to you, and Harry Tector and Neil Rock. How have they gone? What have you thought of them coming up to you? Have they bought into the Knights' culture and philosophy? Have they added to the team?
Yeah, I think firstly I think a huge amount of courage and fair play to them for at the age that they are, that they wanted to progress their cricket, and they didn't see that this year that they were going to get an opportunity with the Lightning, and they're ambitious guys, and they fitted in really well with us, and I've been really actually impressed with how they've gone about their business. And Harry especially is really exciting cricketer, as is Neil. They're both extremely talented, but the way they've gone about things, and they've performed well, and Harry's now got his reward. He's now going to be captain of the A side and travelling over to Scotland, and he might not have had that opportunity had he stayed down in Dublin.
4th bowler in 4 overs here now. Stuart Thompson's brought into the attack. Andy McBride not afraid to ring the changes, and I think it seems to be that way a little bit in 2020 cricket. Stuart Thompson coming from the Sandymount end, and just punched away for 1 to bring Doheny back onto strike.
Nicely played.
Piece of fielding by McClintock at point. The two boys had an outstanding under-19 World Cup, Rock and Tector, and has that bit of youth coming into the night setup actually helped inspire a bit more energy into the team, or what do you think has been the best part of the boys coming up the road to you?
Yeah, well, obviously they bring a huge amount of energy, and they're really positive, and they don't have the baggage that maybe some of the guys who have played in previous seasons have carrying. That sort of that they've been exposed to quite a few defeats and things like that. They're fresh and they want to learn all the time, and it just rejuvenates the group. So I'm hugely impressed by them. I'm sure that they will continue to reap rewards out of that move. I just hope that we can hang on to them for a few more years before Leinster come back.
Come knocking again.
Yeah, 100%.
Thompson looked for the Yorker there, but it was attempted to be guided through the covers, but just caught an outside edge from Pistorius, and he has a second boundary. He moves to 8, 42 for 1 in the third over now. Oh, bit of length. Pistorius really leans back on that, tries to smash it over extra cover, but makes no contact through to the keeper. Dot ball.
He's a dangerous player, this guy. If he gets going here, the Northwest are going to be in trouble.
I think he bats a little bit like his good mate Max Aronson, doesn't he?
Very clean hitter.
Yeah, nothing left behind. We can't have you in the box with us here without talking about last week. Firstly, on a personal level, forget about the team performance. You must have been delighted to get your T20I highest score of 60, but also do it against such a high quality attack on such a big occasion.
Yeah, thanks. It was a bit of a surreal experience. Obviously I was very lucky in the first innings with those drop catches. I mean, I suppose you do need a bit of luck, and I did ride it. So no, it was nice to get a few runs. I did need some. I'd played 4 or 5 games there, opening at the top, and I hadn't done quite as well as I'd wanted to. So it was nice to get a score.
I think the big thing that a lot of Irish fans would have taken from that innings as well is the power that you brought. And yes, you might have had a little bit of luck, but you really cleared the ropes. And I think it was 5 sixes that you hit, and that's something that maybe we really need in our T20 side. Oh, he's bowled him, and I tell you, Thompson has bounced back brilliantly there. He was driven for 4 by Pistorius. Pistorius continued to try and score quickly, but that's the top of off stump, and that's a crucial wicket for the Northwest Warriors.
That's the old saying that bowling coaches will go back to, that you hit the top of off in any form of cricket, and then it's going to be hard for guys to get away. So well bowled that by Sturdy. That's a crucial wicket.
Looks like we're going to have a bit of Clontarf, a bit of Bobo. Robert Forrest to the wicket now, number 14 coming in, and he's another batsman who doesn't mind having a bit of a dip. So the Munster are going to continue to go at it here, I think.
Yeah, he's an exciting player as well. Played against him last year, and he plays his shots. He's actually couple of good switch hits I saw him play last year, so this will be interesting for you as well. I'd say he'll probably just keep going in the manner that the guys have come out with already.
We're not even at the end of the 4th over, and the scoreboard reads 46 for 2. Sorry, it is the end of the 4th over. That was the final delivery of Thompson's first over and the innings 4th, so it's 46 for 2, chasing 162 here. James, the atmosphere in Malahide, have you ever played in anything like that in your entire life?
Well, I played against Pakistan probably about 6 or 7 years ago at Clontarf, and the deafening noise during on Wednesday, especially, it was the first time obviously 10,000 people I played in front of, and for the first 4 or 5 overs I wasn't really sure what I was doing in the field. I was kind of sort of trying to take it all in, and then obviously trying to concentrate on the ball if it comes in your direction. But it is a bit it is hard to get used to, but once you do and you start to enjoy it, you do sort of start to feed off that. The atmosphere was incredible. And
is it something that you just really enjoyed? Did you get a gigantic buzz out of not only playing in the game but getting runs in the game?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it was something that I had targeted. I had targeted those games and the try series, but to get runs in those games, it was one thing that I was really hoping for. And I suppose once you get going and you sort of fade off the crowd, and it just gives you that extra wee bit of sort of you just want to keep going. And unfortunately that left arm spinner Kuldeep,
well, I think one of the few things that Irish fans took from this week just gone was the fact that he ran through England as well with a staggering 5-fer. So you certainly weren't the only one to fall to him. Driven hard, and Dohney into his zone here. Was that a chance? I don't think it was.
Just to Stewart's right hand. Difficult. Would have been a blinder. Difficult catch, but 4 more to Munster.
Craig Young into the attack here, and this is actually the 5th bowler in 5 overs, so Andy McBride not afraid to ring the changes, but Young proving expensive. He's only bowled 1.5 overs, he's none for 24, and as you say, that's the 50 up for the Munster Reds, and the Munster Reds will be looking to win this game from here, you would have thought.
100%. I mean, it's one of those ones where you get off to such a good start, you just need to then sort of consolidate after the first 6, but I would, if I was them, I would be conscious of trying to get as many in the 6 overs as possible to sort of towards the back end, and that allows them to go maybe a run a ball, 6s, 7s and over, which should be on this wicket in this outfield, pretty easy task.
Let's just go back to the quality of spin you faced there against India. I suppose the quality of all their bowlers, but it was really seemed to be the spinners that were the difference. I think in the first game they took 7 wickets against us. In the second game they took 6 or 7 as well. And our spinners were maybe only getting 1 or 2 wickets in the game. And what is it that was such a huge difference? Is it as simple as wrist spin against orthodox spin, or what is the difference?
I think the Indian spinners, they bring that mystery. You're not sure which way the ball is going to be spinning. So it is, unless you pick the ball from the hand, it's very difficult. Or you're hoping that you then read it off the pitch. But to come down to try and use your feet against the ball and you're not sure which way it's going is obviously a risk. And they bowl straight and they're at you all the time, and that's the thing that we found. If you're not picking the ball and you're trying to score 10, 8, 9, 10 and over, that is difficult. So it's just something though, like with playing against that type of spin. I mean, it's a very hard thing to replicate. We did speak about playing against Kuldeep in particular, like in between, and try and come up with some plans. But unless you're facing that, week in, week out, or spin of that quality, it is difficult.
And is it something, I suppose, that we really need to find within Irish cricket? You look at 2020 cricket, not just at the international level, but at all the franchises. Leg spin is absolutely crucial. The top 5 bowlers in the ICC World Rankings in 2020 cricket are all leg spinners, whether that be left or right arm leg spinners. Is that something we really need to try and start competing up the grades at the highest level of 2020 cricket? Yeah,
you do need to have an element of mystery. So if that is with leg spin, or if it's similar to the Afghan Mujib, the way he bowls, sort of flicking the ball out the front of his hand, just something to put the batsman off. So I'm sure Ireland will be scouting around. There's actually a young spinner, JJ Garth, who I faced from Pembroke.
Correct.
During the week, and he looks really good. Bowls good pace, bowls good length. Really
just been called into the Irish Wolves squad as well for the first time. He's very young still. He's only 17. I think he had quite a good under-19s World Cup, and he should be able to play another one. So he could be one to keep an eye on. Yeah,
100%. I was really impressed with his control. I faced him in the nets, and guys are obviously practicing the 2020 format, and they want to go after him. And he was probably he was the hardest one to get away. So I was really impressed with him. I'd say he's got a really bright future, and clearly the selectors feel that he's somebody who can fill that gap in maybe the next couple of years if he continues.
Beautifully bowled by Thompson, and I don't think Robert Forrest intended to put that there at all. That would have gone straight to first slip, but it's run away for 4. Munster continue to pile on the runs. Final over the power play, they're 58 for 2.
That's a bit of luck you need. I suppose as a batter, I'm going to take the batsman's side on this one and say that he's nicely angled the blade down to third man, but I'm sure Stuart will not be pleased with that one. But no, you take them as whatever way they come.
I'm not sure Bobo's even going to claim that he intended that one. That would have been straight to first slip or 1.5 slips maybe. But he's still there, and he's off and away with a boundary to start. Thompson in again.
I think it's an interesting tactic what the Northwest have done with.
Oh dear, David Rankin. David Rankin has had an absolute nightmare there, to be honest. I don't know what happened, because it looked to be right on the square, and it just seems to have bobbled straight through his legs.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones that happens, and you don't quite have an excuse for it. Davey will be disappointed with that. He's a good fielder, but 2 more to Munster. Yeah, interesting just what the Northwest have done with the bowling in the first 6, trying to mix it up, but sometimes it works. It hasn't really worked, although if they do get a wicket in this next couple of balls, the power play they could say would be even enough, because there's the stats do show if you lose 3 wickets or 4 wickets in the first 6, you are up against it.
Would you say the Northwest are just a touch rattled now, looking out of their body language? I see McBride trying to G them up here again.
Yeah, I think they just need to try and keep calm and know that 1 over or 2 overs will change it. If they have a couple of good overs, it'll come back into their favour. So they just need to hang tight.
And as we can hear, you can probably even hear that loudly on your stream. Bobo's shouting that loudly. Sorry, no run into the covers. Just one ball left in the power play, and even if it's a dot 60 for 2 after 6, they'll be delighted with that. They're going to need 100 off 14 overs, and the game appears to be Munster's for the winning right here.
Absolutely, they just now need to go at just over 7 and over, I think, now for the rest of the 14 overs. It should be easy on this wicket. Well, no chase is ever easy, but
we won't hold you to those words.
No.
Bobo's looked to mow that through the offside, and certainly he wasn't going to be holding anything back, and that's through to the keeper. And the score, as predicted, 60 for 2 after 6, the end of the power play. Shanna, talk to us a little bit then about, your Irish career has been a really interesting one, because as you said, you referred to that Pakistan game. That was really your breakthrough into the squad the whole way back in 2010. That's 8 years ago now. So you were probably 21 or so.
yeah,
And you're now 28, 29.
Yeah.
What age are you?
28.
28,
Yeah.
so you're now 28,
Yeah.
but you could have by far the best of your batting career ahead of you. I presume you're going to just be putting everything into doing what you can to become a permanent fixture in that Irish side in all 3 formats.
Absolutely. I mean, it's I would obviously have loved to have played more cricket for Ireland up to this point, but it is what it is, and I have to be the first one to admit that I haven't done enough good things over that period since Pakistan to merit a place in the side. So now it's just about working as hard as I can and getting as much experience as I can and chatting to coaches and making sure that I try to make up for those years of not playing. So
and do you think, as McBride comes back into the attack, he's just worked down to long on. Doheney's looked very impressive so far, hasn't he?
I think this will suit Stephen down to the ground. Now he just has to, all he's going to do is milk it around, look to take his singles, the odd boundary here and there, and Munster will just keep chipping away at that score. I think that's all he needs to do. Risk-free cricket now for the next 5-6 overs.
And you'd have to suspect Forrest might take a slightly different approach here against the spin, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
So with I suppose a few absolute titans of Irish cricket coming out of the squad, particularly in the batting lineup, you look at Ed Joyce is now formally retired from all 3 formats. There might be 1 or 2 other players who might be coming into the very end of their careers. Is that something that you've seen as a bit of an opportunity? You've obviously done quite well in the T20 format. That's a glorious stroke. Sorry, James, inside out over extra cover. That could be the shot of the day for me.
Beautiful shot against the spin from Donny. Nicely placed, just chipped it over the extra cover fielder in a big gap there and sped away for 4. Beautiful shot.
So yeah, with Ed coming out of the top of the order, has that possibly opened up a gap for you for the next few years, or how do you look at it?
I suppose that. I mean, you can think like that, and you can get caught into thinking like maybe it's my time now to try and to get a spot and nail that down. But you just have to try and take every day as it comes and just keep working and scoring runs in no matter what game you're playing, Interpros or club and whenever you get the chance for Ireland, like you try and do as well as you can to try and. I think if you sort of think, this is now my spot, you can get a bit sort of complacent and that's certainly one thing that I don't want to be. You have to keep, the India games were, I got runs, on the Wednesday, but they very quickly worked me out on the Friday, and that's going to be, you always have to improve and keep getting better. So.
And of course, the depth in Irish cricket has probably never been stronger. You talk about someone like Stephen Doheney, 2 years ago you might not have been thinking about him, and now he's getting runs here at interprovincial level, and this is the platform, and Graham Ford has shown that if you get runs in club or interprovincial cricket, he's really keen to come in and look at these new players.
I think that's the way, the carrot that has to be there though for these guys who are playing, that if you have a good couple of games, or you get into the Wolves, and if you have a good couple of performances there, you can be very quickly find yourself in a position where you're knocking on the door to play, and that has to be there. Otherwise, there is a sense of complacency can come in or what's the point of playing if you're not going to be given that opportunity if you're doing well. So, for Stephen, I mean, he's 20, and there's other guys in around that age, Jack Tector and Harry, obviously his brother, Neil Rock. If you're sitting there now knowing with the amount of cricket that's going to be coming up, that's it's hugely exciting. And
someone like Aaron Gillespie today as well, hugely impressive in the first innings.
Fantastic innings. Some really clean striking of the ball, and again he's going away with the Wolves next week, and playing in it can only take 1 innings and suddenly you're in the selector's mind, and that was a really, really good composed innings from Gillespie with some good hitting in there as well.
Bit of change of bowling again. Graham Kennedy on to bowl his. I think we're going to refer to him as left arm medium. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's a skillful bowler. I faced him in a one-day game, and he has a few variations, a couple of sort of off-cutters, and he bowls very tight to the stumps, keeper up. He can be hard to get away, and it would just be nice to see the Northwest just squeeze a wee bit harder in the ring, just to try and get those dot balls in to make Donny try and do something a little bit different. But Graham Kennedy is, he's an impressive young player as well.
He looks like a bit of an old-fashioned cutters bowler. In off a long run, he's certainly, I hope he won't mind me saying, he's not bowling at any great pace. But he just looks difficult to get away with, keeper up to the stumps.
Yeah, but the good thing is, you see his build, and he's an athletic guy, and it'd be interesting to see, if Rob Castle got hold of him, if he maybe started running in and hitting the crease with a bit of momentum, he might be able to find a yard or two. Left arm over was a lovely thing to be able to bowl. So
it's something that we're not blessed with in Irish cricket either. I think Phil Eagleston's probably the last one to play at the stoop at an international level for Ireland. So it's something that certainly we need to see more of.
Yeah, it's just something different. Guys don't face it all the time. Josh Little's another one from Pembroke,
of course.
who bowls at a handy pace as well, and he's another exciting prospect. It just gives you something that something different. That's guys don't face it, and it's a different threat, especially if you can get the ball to shape back into the right-hander's pads, or if you get the change up that goes away from the bat.
As we saw with Mohammed Amir, that
missed chance
might have been dropped. Forrest just looking to run it down to third man. It might have just taken the outside edge. Yes, it looked like it did on the replay here. So Munster will be happy with their position currently, but the run's certainly proven a little bit harder to come by, as they tend to after the power play. But Doheny looks very composed. It's going to be interesting to see what Forrest does here.
Yeah, it was one thing we did touch on earlier, that we thought that the Northwest might go sort of pace off and then the wicket. I think this is going to suit Graham Kennedy down to a tee. He's going to another misfield from Stuart Thompson.
And that's going to be very disappointing. Probably one of the best fielders in the Irish setup, let alone the interprovincial setup. Regulation stop there and just slip through him for one. Nothing wrong with the outfield here. It looks like a wonderful outfield, fine facilities, fine pitch, and the Northwest just a little bit rattled right now.
Nicely played that, just tucked into the leg side from Donny. With the Munster only needing 7.7 and over now to the end, even with a few dot balls, they just need to keep their composure and just try and build this partnership. Maybe Donny bats through and Robert Forrest takes the odd risk to try and to pick up a boundary. But the deeper that they can take this, just batting normally and playing proper cricket shots without taking a huge amount of risk, they'll be favourites, I think.
End of the eighth over now, and Munster Reds 70 for 2, probably on top. James, talk to us a little bit about, I suppose, the difference between T20 cricket and the other formats, the 50 over and the 3-4 day test match stuff. Is it difficult for someone who doesn't necessarily have the power like you do to build an innings? We're seeing Doheny here. He might not necessarily be able to clear the ropes, but he's kind of accumulating a bit like a Kane Williamson. Do you need a combination of that, power hitters and accumulators within T20 cricket? Is that the best way to go?
Absolutely. He's just smashed that one out of the ground. That's a fantastic shot. So there's a bit of power from there's a bit of power. He's obviously heard you there.
He's heard from the side. He's heard the sledge and he's stuck it right over the side screen with a mighty blow. Umpire Steve Wood signals 6 and Munster are ticking. But do tell us.
Yeah, I think that the great thing about Stephen is that he first of all, he has the technique, so you can see that he will be able to play in all formats. And as you mentioned, Kane Williamson had an unbelievable IPL, just playing proper cricket shots, and that's something that you do need to have. That I think that playing good strong cricket shots, there's still a place for that in 2020 cricket, and fours are just if you hit 2 or 3 fours and over, it's just as good as a couple of sixes. So there's different ways to skin a cat.
In comes McBride to Forrest, short. Forrest looks to cut. He's just struggling to get it away a bit. 8 off 12 balls here. Just to give a bit of a picture to our viewers here as well, the Northern Knights have arrived, and all of your teammates giving you a bit of a sledge there as you're on the commentary.
Yeah,
as
nice.
they're walking past.
Always nice to see them.
What are they getting into you about there, Shannon? Do you reckon?
Who knows? We'll find out later. I'm sure I'll get a bit of stick for this later on, but no, good to see the guys have arrived down. Plenty of time to get ready for the big game later, the showpiece game later against Leinster, the 2 top teams.
Yeah, 4 o'clock that game is Northern Knights against the Leinster Lightning, and we'll be bringing you every ball live here in the Cricket Leinster live stream with thanks to Cairn Holmes. Without their support, this stream would not be possible, so we're very, very grateful to them. That's the end of the 9th over. The score moves to 78 for 2. Stephen Doheney 38 off 26, and he's been equally as impressive as Aaron Gillespie was earlier. Can he kick on and make it a big score?
Absolutely. If he bats through and he ends up 60, 75 not out, Munster should be thereabouts. So I'm sure that's what he'll be aiming to do. Just keep batting the way he is. Interesting to see here Chopra back in sort of double spin here from the northwest. Haven't seen Rishi for a few years, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes.
He's still bowling his off breaks, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. Talented young kid. He's not played for a few years, so
very, very good record at underage level, not only for the Northwest but also for Ireland. And it's kind of difficult, that, isn't it? For you get these cricketers coming through at 13s, 15s, 17s, and they might play an Irish 19s campaign, but then there has been a tendency for some of those players just to fall into the ether a bit. Now, is the Interpros a solution for that, or what is the answer?
100%. I mean, it has to be. If they do well then in club cricket, they go back to their clubs, and you always know that they have talent. It might just not be happening for them at that time for a particular reason. And but if they do well at clubs, and then they get back in again, so he's still got plenty of time. And Bullock's just throwing that one up there. He's quite slow through the air.
Looks to be quite deceptive to face as a batter, is he?
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange action, a little bit off-putting maybe. I think he should just try and bowl as straight as he can, and if the old saying,
slog swept, very well struck by Forrest, probably the best he struck one, and that's unlucky. Super effort in the deep from McClintock, but he's just been unlucky. It's ricocheted off his knee and it's run away for 4.
It just shows how quick this outfield is. That's sped across. He only had to go about 5 or 6 to his left there. Good effort, but it's gone through for another boundary.
I think what Munster will be delighted with there is with Forrest reaching the boundary and Doheney accumulating so well, they really are right on top there. They're past the halfway total in terms of runs needed before the 10th over. Swept again. This time a little bit squarer. Well fielded by Aaron Gillespie out at deep square leg. Super fielder Aaron, and he's going to be delighted with his day's work. Pressure on the bowler here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially in the first couple of balls, if one does go to the boundary, you're on the back foot. It's just trying to sort of get out of the over now without too much damage. Nicely played sweeps actually, and that's nicely played there by Stephen Downey. Good play by Robert Forrest though, using the hard sweep to both the deep fielders. If he beats them, he hits it well enough, he will get 4. So
the huge boundary out to the railway side though. In fairness,
it is, but it does give the opportunity for the guys to knock the ball to the 30-yard circle as well. To
push for 2.
To try and get 2s, and they can accumulate runs that way. That's nicely played. Just
worked away for 1. Bobo's happy with that. The Munster bench here to our right are delighted with that, and I think Munster are feeling sensing they're right on top. Yeah. So this is a position the Munster Reds will be delighted with.
Absolutely, they just need to keep this going. Rishi in again. That's a lot of spin there. Spun down the leg side. The young
turned sharply.
I think that might be an omen for the next 2 or 3 days. I'm not sure if there's another pitch being used, so it'll be interesting to see by Sunday if there's.
Umpire Paul Reynolds does signal wide, so that's going to be 3 wides to the total. And Rishi Chopra is struggling to get out of his over here. 10 off it already, still 1 ball to go. I think you're spot on. The pitches do tend to turn down here, but if this is happening on day 1 and we have the same pitch for 3 days, it's going to be interesting to see a spinner's paradise down in Pembroke here.
Absolutely, it would just be interesting to see the power scores as well coming down. The Northwest were happy with 162 as power. That might come down maybe to 130, 125 over the next couple of days. So it'll just be interesting to see how the wicket deteriorates and the guys then try to combat that.
Looks like Captain McBride continues to ring the changes. James, I'd like to thank you for joining us. It's been a great 10-over stint. We've really enjoyed your company. I'm going to continue for a couple of overs myself, and we'd just like to thank you, and we'll chat to you throughout the rest of the weekend.
Pleasure. Thanks so much.
So, change in the commentary position. I'll stay with you, Andrew Leonard here, but I'm delighted to be joined by Peter Boyd. Peter, the first ever Interpro T20 festival.
Yeah, it's some occasion. The sun is streaming in now as well. It's really set up for a fantastic weekend. We're were really excited about what was in prospect when we knew that the weather was guaranteed as well. And so far so good. It's fulfilling all the promise that we had and what we were expecting from this weekend.
I might be a little bit biased here, but is there a better venue in Dublin when the sun shines than Pembroke Cricket Club?
You're really throwing me a tough question there. As presenter on Game of the Day and travelling around all the different Premier League grounds and being hosted so well, I'd be very hard pushed to say one over another. But I am here for the weekend, so I will certainly say for this 3-day festival, we couldn't have picked a better ground and a better venue.
You're like a parent picking their favourite son. You love them all equally. That's fine.
I love them all equally, but some more equally than others.
Kennedy in again from the Sydney Parade end. McBrien's continued to ring the changes here. I think he's really searching for wickets, isn't he? Kennedy's bowled his first over from the Sandymount end, the opposite end, and he's now come back from the Sydney Parade end. But Munster are really in control here. They need 7 and over, and they're right on top of the game.
Yeah, it's been something else from them. Their batsmen have come in. Each and every one of them has come in looking to score quickly. They're all that type of batsman. They're aggressive batsmen. When I was on the commentary earlier, during the power play when they were in the field, they were aggressive in the field as well. They had to slip in for a long time. They were taking wickets at that stage, and that's the way they've really looked to play cricket today. They've really looked to come at the Warriors and try to dominate in both halves of the game. The one time really they shied away from that and they set the field back was when Gillespie and McBrien were able to dominate and set that partnership together.
And I think what McBrien will be disappointed with, his bowlers have bowled, they've missed their lengths a bit. They bowled a bit too lengths, and just as I say that, he's dragged it down the leg side. The keeper up to the stumps, he's absolutely no chance. Poskett, that's going to be 5 wides. And right now it looks like there can only be one result in this match.
It's looking that way. It really is. And just looking at it and looking at the history, you know, we've come into this game with the Munster Reds who haven't had much chance over the past few years to get many victories and really put it up to their rivals in the competition. So this is a real chance for them to push on and secure a vital victory against the Warriors.
And it's not just the on the pitch action this weekend, of course. Tomorrow we've got Super Saturday at the Hanley Energy T20 Festival here down in Pembroke. I've just been handed something in my hands here, 2 Michael Bublé tickets. Now if you want to win those Michael Bublé tickets, they've come thanks to the live stream providers HPV Studios. Glorious shot by Forrest.
And it's well fielded on the boundary there. Just kept in. Davy Rankin gotten down, long way down from his height, but he did really well there to pull it back in from the boundary rope.
So yeah, for these 2 Michael Bublé tickets, he's going to be playing Croke Park tomorrow night. All you need to do is get down to Pembroke today or tomorrow before the second game. The second game will start at 4 p.m. We'll close the draw at 3 o'clock. If you come in the ground, you're automatically entitled to a ticket. We will get you a raffle ticket, and we've not only got these 2 Michael Bublé tickets, but also a coaching session for your Cricket Leinster club with 3 Leinster Lightning players. So 2 wonderful prizes, and where else would you want to be on a sunny day than Pembroke Cricket Club in Sandymount?
Well, you asked me about that. Could we have picked a better ground to host? And I tell you that there are 2 fantastic prizes to be on offer for everyone to be down here tomorrow. And we're really setting up Super Saturday as it's been dubbed and has been called. And I really believe that there are some tickets. You're going to have to hold on to them very carefully, Lenny, over the next 24 hours.
I'll make sure of that. Don't you worry.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who will be looking forward to trying to get their hands on them ahead of tomorrow night's gig. They'll be much sought after.
That's the 100 up for the Munster Reds at the end of the 11th over, and with 9 overs to bat, 54 balls to go, they need just 63 runs to win, chasing the Northwest Warriors total of 162. Going to continue to ring the changes, Andy McBrien. Davy Scanlon's going to come back on to bowl his second over. It all looks a little bit desperate for the Northwest Warriors right now. They haven't fielded very well. They've looked a little bit bereft of ideas, and can Scanlon provide some inspiration for them maybe?
Well, if anyone can, Davy can. As this week he's been all over, as you were describing earlier. He's been all over social media. He's in good form. He's got his first class 50. There was talk of him going up the order and batting higher up the order today. You know, to capitalise on that great form with the bat. So now he needs to show his golden arm and break this partnership if the Warriors are to get back into this game. But looking around the field, there's a lot of kind of perplexed looks. There's hands on hips. There's a little bit of looking for a wicket, searching for a breakthrough really at the moment.
The body language is not strong from the Warriors in any way, shape or form. Just want to talk to you quickly about the table. This festival is the final 6 matches of a 12-match programme of the tournament. So there's already been 3 games played on Friday nights. Each side has been hosting matches. The Leinster Lightning are the top of that table at the moment with 3 wins from 3, but also 2 bonus points. They're on 14 points. The Northwest Warriors, who are watching here, are in second, and that's why they're so desperate for a win to get up and compete with the Lightning. They've won 2 from 3. They're on 8 points. The Northern Knights are in third on 5 points with 1 win. The Munster Reds are winless, but it looks very much like they could get their first ever win in the Interpro T20 Festival.
Yeah, and it will be very much deserved on the performance they've put in today.
What a shot. Sorry to interrupt you. Scooped away, and that's going to be 4 more. And it looks like Robert Forrest is really starting to come into his zone after a difficult start to his innings.
It was a beautiful shot. Just got down low, scooped it over the top. Really, really clever shot there to take his boundary. But yeah, as you say, going back to the table, it really is set up. And we were looking in advance. We were kind of saying that tomorrow afternoon, when the Warriors take on the Lightning, could potentially be a decider. But the Munster Reds are really putting it up to the Warriors to make that the game that it initially looked like, because this could really upset the apple tart, as a famous politician once said.
And would you think the Knights will be looking at this now and licking their lips? They're going to be saying this is actually a good result for us, because it kind of puts the ball back into their court, that if they can beat the Lightning later on, they could be back in with a chance of taking the title themselves.
100%. That's what it is, and that's the whole thing about having everyone here and everyone playing against each other at the same time and over the weekend, is that you can get into that swing of things. You can see how everyone else is playing, and if momentum builds and gets behind you, you can really see yourself going on and getting those 3 wins if you're playing in good form, and everyone falls into some good form over that weekend.
Just a little bit of a crowd building now down in Pembroke. It's obviously a work day here in Dublin. For those watching and listening on the live stream, we've got great numbers coming into us. Please do come and join us down in Sandymount in Dublin for the second game today. Will start at 4 o'clock as Scanlon comes in. Another slower ball, just hit out towards the covers. What do you think is going to be for you? What were you hoping to see from these 6 games, Peter? Was there a player you had your eye on? Was there a style of cricket you were hoping to see from the weekend?
Well, I have to say, having witnessed the 2 T20 internationals last week and the skills that were on display, and particularly though having seen a lot of T20 action this year with following the Lightning around the country in particular, it's very much, as I say,
what a shot
that is. Will indeed go all the way.
Is without doubt the biggest hit of the day. And now it hasn't gone into the gardens because there is no gardens out there. That's almost gone onto the railway line. What a strike from Robert Forrest, all the way for 6. Munster Reds are flying.
I had a chat with Dale McDonough, the groundsman, earlier, and he did tell me that square the wickets, they're almost exactly the same yardage, but it always looks further going over towards the railway line there because of where the barriers are and the hoardings and the advertisements. So it's very much a case of looking at that, and it's very, very far. That was a big shot from Robert Forrest.
I wouldn't be listening to Dale McDonough there. It's definitely a bigger hit towards the railway line, even if the measuring tape is saying it's not. That is it. That's definitely the biggest 6 of the day, and good God, the Munster Reds are not only looking on course for the win, but a bonus point win as well.
It's just been a fantastic performance, and this is something that they've threatened to do for a long time. Even when they played here against the Leinster Lightning earlier in the summer, they had a performance like this for a little while, and then just near the end they fell away and lost out in the end. But they did put it up to the Leinster Lightning on that day and threatened to do something similar for long spells of that game. So as we said, edged and passed Poskett.
Beautifully bowled by Kennedy. Poskett did get a glove to that, but it just didn't stick for the young man on debut. A tough chance, it would have to be said.
Absolutely tough chance, but he did well to get anything onto it and get close to it, but very much so a tough chance for him. But I suppose when you have the breaks like this, you're looking for anything to to make it happen like that, you're looking for any possible breaks, and you're looking for somebody to pull off something a bit special that will make the breakthrough for you.
Kennedy's left arm seam, I described them earlier as medium. I'm not sure how to do his left arm seam really. The keeper's gone back now. Has provided an interesting alternative. Bobo just works at it over to mid-off for one. But he certainly looks like, even just the angle he bowls at, looks like it's going to create some problems for the batters.
Yeah, he doesn't have express pace. You know, he's not someone that really fires it through and gets a steep rising ball through to the keeper or anything like that. But he niggles away there and line and length and gets a bit of movement and gets a bit of help off the pitch
Short
as well.
and wide, cut away. He's really hit that beautifully. That's a glorious shot from Stephen Downey.
Yeah.
Downey just gone quiet for a couple of overs there, mainly because he didn't have the strike. Bobo was taking the strike a bit, but that's a glorious cut shot, and it's the outfield could not be any faster, could it?
No, that's it. I saw the outfield getting shaved earlier on. It wasn't and the mower was out, but there was no need really. There hasn't been much growth or anything like that, so it couldn't get much faster. As you say, it's like the greens sometimes in the US Open when you see them, and they're lightning fast.
Comes Kennedy again now, the 13th over. Short and Doheny. I think probably the most impressive thing about Doheny's innings so far for me is that after he's hit a boundary, he's just looked to rotate the strike, and he's been so clever. He's taken no chances of any kind. Forrest has seemed to be a little bit streakier, but Doheny has given a chanceless display here.
Well, Stephen is that type of player. You know, he accumulates runs. He bats up and rush there, and while it's a small ground and he does score a lot of runs, he's been playing in great form for the summer, and almost a mix up there as Forrest came down the wicket. But yeah, Stephen Doheny, he does score a lot of runs at rush, but he also has a good brain on his shoulders for a young man. He knows his cricket. He knows that, you know, there's nothing better than getting the boundary and then, you know, quick single to get off strike and keep the rotation going as well. So very cool, calm head he has.
That's well bowled. Just bringing that one back in towards Forrest, and he could not get that away. Again, the angle proven a little bit of difficulty. Inside edge onto the thigh pad for Forrest. That's the end of the 13th over. 119 for 2. Warriors need just 44 to win from 7 overs. So about a run a ball, but they'll be looking to do it even quicker than that to secure the bonus point as well. Looks to be another change of bowling from McBride. Back to Stuart Thompson. Back to Ireland, Stuart Thompson.
Yeah. It's a... But again, every time there's a bowling change and looking for something, the Porterfield, McBride, Thompson, they seem to be coming together for the conversation, having a chat. They're just searching for something at the moment. They're searching for the breakthrough. They're searching for somebody to pull off a run out or take a good catch or just something different that will get them back into this game. At the moment, they're just struggling to do that.
Knights just arriving in front of us here as they're preparing for the 4 o'clock game. This game doesn't look like it's going to go the distance to me right now, so we might be in for a slightly larger break between the two games than we were expecting. This could be 2, and Doheny's going to look for this for his 50.
And it does bring up his 50. And
that's a wonderful inning. Stephen Doheny, 50 off just 35 balls. 7 fours, 1 6. He signals to his teammates who all stand in the temporary changing rooms here, and that is a wonderful innings.
It's been fantastic because he has played some glorious shots, and including that big 6, but at other times he has just accumulated. He has just run well and taken the 1s and 2s as well that have been on offer, and very, very cool and calm innings to make sure that he's anchored it really throughout. And poor throw in the field there.
Better throw, he could have been in trouble. Forrest really pushed him for 2, but because he was on the back foot, he was a little bit slow in turning. And maybe still thinking about that 50 celebration just a touch.
Just as I talked about him making the cool and calm decisions and running well, and there was just a possibility there with a better throw that he might have been under a bit more pressure, but it's been a very good innings from Stephen Doheny here.
Well, James Shannon and I spoke about him being a little bit in the mould of someone like a Kane Williamson, because he doesn't necessarily possess the huge striking power. He's still just 19 years of age, and he's been a superb acquisition for the Munster Reds. Just come up. Late signal from
Late
Paul
signals,
Reynolds.
yeah.
He considered it, but that was down the leg side. That was wide. We thought it might have just clipped the thigh.
There was a little sound of something. I wasn't sure whether
Might have
what
been
it
back
was,
clipping pad.
but it must have been the bat clipping the pad, all right, because he's signalled the wide. But yeah, Stephen has got great experience this year as well, playing with the Leinster Lightning in the 50 over matches, and he's been around them in the 3-day games as well. So he's been gaining good experience, and that's a lovely shot as well. Definitely played it late, cut it behind square. Lovely shot.
Little bit of an outside edge, but he won't mind how they come. Runs down into the Cairn Holmes board, and he's delighted with 4.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he played that.
It was certainly less streaky than Forrest earlier, that went straight through
Yeah.
first slip. I don't think we could have called that anything but an edge. But even Thompson, the bowler, walking quite heavily back to his mark here.
Yeah.
The Warriors look completely bereft of ideas, and I think we could be seeing history here and a first Munster win in the interprovincial competition here.
A beautiful shot, beautifully driven through the covers there. He certainly meant that. Whatever, there may have been doubt about the previous boundary, but that was a beautiful drive. He's onto the front foot, down all over it, all along the ground, through the cover. That's an absolutely glorious drive.
Doheney's looked a class apart. We've seen 2 young cricketers today really, really step up to the mark. Aaron Gillespie's 80, and now Stephen Doheney. These are 2 names we're going to see a lot more of in the future. Short, pulled away, just one out to the deep square leg sweeper.
And it was something else that was mentioned earlier. Andrew Balbirnie mentioned it during his commentary stint, and that Graham Ford, the international manager, sees an awful lot of cricket. He's everywhere, no matter what ground you go to watch cricket. Some club cricket as well as the interprovincial stuff as well. And if you perform and if you do what you can do, there's the possibility of standing out and Graham Ford paying attention. So these young guys.
Oh, now that could be even better. Short again, and that's cut in front of square, well in front of square, beats the cover sweeper. And McBride at cover didn't move, did he?
It didn't move at all, just stood there. And there's the double teapot. He's standing with hands on hips there. Porterfield and himself having a good discussion, we'll call it, about what to do next. But at the moment, there's nothing they can do about this batting. Between Doheney and Forrest, they've just crushed the ball at times. They've played nice shots, and then they've just built a partnership together, and there doesn't look to be any way that they can break this partnership at the moment.
I think this is what's so wonderful about a weekend like this. You talk about one-off innings that can make an impact on someone's progression towards Irish representative honours. But if you can go ahead and you're a Doheney or a Gillespie and you not only get an 80, but then you back it up with 2 more 50s in a weekend, that's a hugely comprehensive case towards Graham Ford, who's going to be here watching, to say, get me into those national squads.
Exactly, and I think that's part of it as well with the players, of what they wanted was to have this kind of block of playing one format, because it has been tough, this week with the Knights and the Warriors having played a really tough 3-day championship match. And I don't think that the effect of what that had can't be discounted either, because the Warriors have looked a little bit flat and they have looked a little bit tired this morning, and I don't think that can be taken away. The impact of all those overs in the field under warm sun will have had on them this week, ahead of this weekend.
And Munster definitely look the fresher team. I think that's a very good point. They look fresher, they look a little bit hungrier as well. Interesting to see Kennedy go round the wicket there to Doheney, but he's coming back over the wicket to Forrest in his last over, swung away. This could be a chance.
Stuart Thompson, safe hands there from Stuart Thompson. He pocketed that without any trouble at all.
Forrest is going to be disappointed with that. He falls for 36, really holding out a very easy chance for Stuart Thompson. Well held nonetheless, and in fairness, I think that's probably due reward for a good spell of bowling from Graham Kennedy.
Well, that's it. Yeah, if anyone has looked like doing anything, Graham Kennedy has just continued to bowl the way he always does. He's as I said, he's not express pace. He's not somebody that's going to really rip it through, but he just continually puts it in the right areas, and he's been rewarded there with the wicket.
Yeah, good spell of bowling. We've got a former Irish international, Max Sorensen, who I've no doubt will be looking to press to get back into squads. Well, big round of applause for Forrest as he goes off, and in comes number 23, Max Sorensen.
Well, you mentioned former Irish international, and I really believe that the form that Max is in at the moment and the way he's been bowling and batting, I tell you, that's somebody who he announced last year that he was unavailable for he was retiring from the international cricket, but I would be surprised if he's not in the mix of the conversation, if that's something that he wants.
Well, I believe that's the case. I believe he's indicated he's available again. I don't think he'd be playing the interprovincials without being available. The kind of guy he is, but he certainly brings a fresh dimension, a bit of an X factor. He's an incredibly fit guy, and he's at the non-strikers end. Kennedy comes in to Doheny. Kennedy just looking to tie him up, but that's worked away through mid-off for one. But yeah, no, as you say, Max is a serious asset for any cricket squad, really.
And he has that experience. It's it'll be interesting. Later on, as these two at the crease now have both played for Leinster in 50 over cricket this season. So when they do come up against Leinster, it'll be interesting to see what the plans are and what's put in place for them. But
they can't be accused of not knowing their opposition. I was talking to Andy Valverde about that. I said, how do you prepare for playing against someone who's your teammate 1 week in the 3-day stuff, and then the week after they're down playing for Munster? It's a slightly unique scenario, but I think the boys all get on so well that it'll be taken in good heart, and as you say, no doubt they'll have their plans for how to get them out and do well against them.
Well, I certainly saw last Sunday in a 50 over match when the Knights hosted the Leinster Lightning. Harry Tector enjoyed facing Simi Singh, who was bowling to him in the last over of the Knights innings. So
now luckily I think he's all right actually there, Peter.
He got his hands up just in time, did he?
It was just it was slightly overthrown coming in on the bounce there. I think that's David Rankin in the deep. There was absolutely no intention. Just popped up on young Market Poskett on debut, and he's done well to actually avoid any injury there, and that's good to see.
That looked awkward and looked dangerous for a second.
In comes Kennedy again. I suppose the thing about Max as well is it's not just one facet of his game, is it? It's the batting, bowling and fielding. He's obviously physically, there's probably not a fitter guy in Irish cricket, in Ireland, let alone in Irish cricket. He works full time in the fitness industry, but it's his batting, his big hitting, his superb fielding. He offers something with all three facets of the game.
You've got to do that now in this day and age in T20 cricket. You've got to offer the three areas of the game, and looking at the Indian team last week, we saw that they were doing that in all three areas of the game, and certainly their fielding had improved. And it's one thing that we were always, as an international team, we always were able to bank on our fielding, and that was something that we had an advantage on over other teams. But I think other teams have caught up with us, and we need to improve our own fielding again and make sure that we're at the top level, so that we can definitely stand out on our fielding to go with our batting and bowling as well.
Captain McBrien brings himself back on from the Sandymount end. He's going to bowl his final over, and Max straight away looks to...
Has he split the fielders there? He has
indeed. Super shot, and that's his power. It's his power in between long on and cow corner, and that's run away for 4, and this game could be over in a hurry.
Well, we're just into the 16th over, and just 17 runs left for victory now for the Munster Reds. And between Doheny's accumulation and big shots as well, and Max's powered, as you say, this could be a short innings.
Changing the field, they've now got 2 cow corners. It's not 2 fielding positions you see often, but Max hits it straight out to one of them. And that's talk about knowing your man. They've played so much cricket together. We had a deep square leg, a deep square cow corner, a deep cow corner, and a deep long on. So they knew where Max was going to look to hit that ball.
There's certain power areas and certain areas that from somebody's wagon wheel of where they like to hit, and they always there's a chance, and
gone.
Doheny has just...
Doheny's going to be so disappointed with that. It just popped him in a little bit, didn't it? Exactly, it was a length ball. He looked to cut it away, and it carried well.
It just carried it, and he couldn't have picked him out any better. Nice, comfortable catch at waist height.
Craig Young takes the catch. Yeah, Craig Young, and it's a bit of a disappointment for Donny. Such a wonderful innings, but I think given that was the first chance he gave, he's going to be gutted that he didn't see it home and end up with red ink like Aaron Gillespie did earlier in the day.
He would have loved to have seen his side home. That would have been a lovely way to start the weekend. But even still, to have scored 64, anchored the innings, as we said, he's taken them almost there, and I think he gets a well-deserved round of applause from his team as he leaves the field. And 7 fours and that 1-6. It's been a fabulous effort from Stephen Doheney.
Doheney ended with 64 from 43 balls. 7 fours, that one gigantic 6, as Peter alluded to. And I think he's going to have mixed feelings walking off, because it was such a wonderful innings, but he's going to be gutted not to end with that red ink, just like Aaron Gillespie did earlier in the day.
That's it. And we have
David Delaney.
David Delaney now joining us in the middle. So it's an interesting lineup that the Munster Reds have today. Everyone is well able to go big, and when they hit the ball, it's going to stay hit. There's nobody that's inching the ball around. They're all big hitters in this lineup.
You probably don't have many bigger hitters of the cricket ball than Max Aronson and David Delaney, and it's a real asset to his ball. Not only can he bowl a very heavy ball up towards 85 miles an hour, but with his left-handed batting he can really hit it, and he's away off the mark down towards long on. McBride's final over, he does have 2 for now, but I'm not sure his 2 for are going to be enough to save the Northwest Warriors here. Interesting to see what fields he sets here again. Porterfield and McBride discussing it between them, and I think we're again going to have the 2 cow corners. We're going to have no one behind square on the leg side, so obviously he doesn't think Max is going to sweep.
No, there'll be no sweeping done here, I don't think.
4 men deep on the leg side, and he's tried to hit it over them.
He was hit them over them. That's all the way.
Over them.
Yeah,
and he's hit it straight into the floodlight tower. What a strike! Sorensen looking for the bonus point win here from Munster, and this is a huge turn up for the Bucks in Game 1 of the Interpro Festival here at Pembroke Cricket Club.
They could have had all 10 fielders on that boundary there, and it wouldn't have mattered to Max. He was still going to go over them. There's four Warriors standing down there, hands on hips, and the ball just went straight over.
He could be trying to go again, and he comes. Very clever from McBride. Clever bowling from McBride. He just pulled back his length, and Max is happy to work that for 1. Keep the strike. Good spell of bowling from the Warriors skipper with his off spin. He ends up with a 2-4, and at the end of the 16th over, the Munster Reds are 155 for 4. So who does he go back to here? So looks like Craig Young, isn't it?
Craig Young is...
Design in number 4, Craig Young.
Was Ollie Gunning who took a liking to Craig Young's bowling early on.
He enjoyed his short deliveries, didn't he?
Yeah, so Max Sorensen well able to obviously hit the ball big as well. So with only what are we now? We've 8 runs required. This could be a big over as well to finish off as we enter. We still have 4 overs remaining just to get those 8 runs, but
2 overs, none for 25. Young has at the moment. Okay, just getting some really helpful information here, and it looks like the Warriors are going to come up just short of the bonus point. Now, look, obviously the bigger and more important thing for them is a win and a first ever win since their re-entry into the interprovincial structures, but they're going to come up just short of the bonus point, it looks like. So from here, really, it's a case of just getting over the line with 7 runs to win.
I'm sure at the start of the day when they arrived here, bonus point victories were probably the furthest thing from their mind. Just getting a victory was on their mind, but definitely that's going to be a great way for them to start their weekend here. And for all of us, really, we're looking to broadcast 6 great games over the weekend, and we've been treated to a really good game. 2 quality batting performances, 1 in each innings from 2 young guys really looking to perform. And we've been delighted to be able to bring it to you here on Cricket Leinster TV, and it's a real thanks to Cairn Holmes for their sponsorship and their foresight to be able to bring that to you. So if you're tuned in, you're welcome along. And if you're in the area, please do get yourself down here at some stage over the weekend to take in at least one or two of the games, because it's really going to be fantastic. And we've also got big Super Saturday as well, and Lenny's got his two Michael Bublé tickets here. You don't be afraid to come down and get yourself a ticket for the raffle and get yourself a chance of winning those tickets.
Well said, Peter. And look, I think the nice thing that we've seen in game one, and hopefully we'll see this through all 6 games, is that we haven't had an overly dominant performance with just the bat. You know, the ball has certainly played its part. Munster were superb early on. David Delaney reducing the Northwest Warriors to 15 for 4 at one stage. So, you know, we've seen a good competition between bat and ball. We've seen Andy McBride bowl very well here, Graham Kennedy bowl very well, but the highlight for me has been Aaron Gillespie's innings of 80 and then Stephen Doheney's innings that just oozed class at 62. Young getting penalised there for the short ball with the wide. So it's just 5 to win, and it looks like Max could try to do this with just one blow. What do you think?
I'd certainly say you'd be eyeing up. That is certainly
Probably
crossed
the
his
gardens
mind.
somewhere down there, Peter. And he comes, brilliant Yorker.
You won't hit that for 6.
No.
That was perfect.
Brilliant, world-class Yorker that,
Yeah.
and equally well played by Max Sorensen, and they scampered through for a single.
It was well played, and they did do well to scamper through and get the one, but it was a beautiful delivery from Craig Young. There's such fine margins when you're delivering like that, and trying to get that right up there into the block hole, and it was a beautiful delivery from Craig Young.
4 to win, could be done in a shot here. Young comes into Delaney.
Played away into the leg side. Will they try and come back for 2? No, just settle for the 1. It looks like they'll do it in ones if they have to, but
Yeah, smart batting, and I think what's been really impressive as well, probably the standout performers so far today have all been really young guys. Aaron Gillespie, David Delaney, Stephen Doheney. These are guys who are putting their hands up. They see the importance of a weekend like this. They say, this is my chance to put my hand up and say, I want to be out there playing against India like the boys were last week. And, you know, that's what's at stake here. Looks for the Yorker again. Sorensen works it away.
that
this
could
be
go
it?
all the way, will it? No. Slide.
Well
slide.
fielded by
And
Kennedy,
it's-
and that's
and
it.
it's it. They've run the 3.
History here in Pembroke Cricket Club. Munster have won a first interprovincial match. They have beaten the Northwest Warriors by 6 wickets. An outstanding performance with bat and ball. The batsman just looking round. They don't quite. They do think they run 3. Max was just double checking. Did they run 3 there? They did. They've got to the total. The umpire said, "That's it, lads." And the initial exuberant celebrations, which were dumbed down, have now returned to
They've
the Munster Reds
confirmed
dressing room.
That's a fantastic victory for the Munster Reds. Very, very happy for them to have got their first victory. They did have to confirm and make sure that they had got the victory, but a brilliant win. Aaron Gillespie's 80 in the first innings really set up the recovery for the Northwest Warriors after the Munster Reds had bowled so well early on, and then set that target of 163. But Stephen Doheney's innings of 62 really set about anchoring that chase for them, and David Delaney and Max Sorensen taking the Reds over the line there at the end as they won by 6 wickets. A really, really good game of cricket, and a fantastic win for the Munster Reds in our first game of the weekend.
And I think the impressive thing for what the Munster coach Ted Williamson will be so pleased with is that there's been contributions from all around the team. Every batsman got into double figures there, with the exception of Delaney, who was not out. Doheney 64 off 43 balls, Gunning 17 off 7, Pretorius 12 off 9, Forrest 36 off 31, rode his luck a little bit. Max Sorensen 16 off 8, and Delaney 3 not out off 4. Really comprehensive and very professional performance from a side that haven't won a game in this competition before.
Yeah, absolutely. There was no panic. There was no danger of them trying to overchase or trying to force it in any way. They just set about their business. They knew the target, and they got about it. And they really made it difficult for the Warriors. We saw them looking for different bowlers, looking at different players, trying to get that breakthrough. And they never really looked like they had a chance of halting the run chase. The Munster Reds were on top, and they were well able to get that chase done. And it's a brilliant win by 6 wickets, and sets us up really, really well for the rest of the weekend here in Pembroke Cricket Club.
Yep, and look, Peter, thank you for joining me here. And I suppose we're just going to wrap up here now with the two sides just going through their warm downs. I think the Northwest Warriors will enjoy their break tonight. They don't play till tomorrow afternoon. We're going to say goodbye to you for now, but we hope you join us again here at about 10 minutes to 4, just before 4 o'clock, for Game 2 of the 6-match Hanley Energy Interprovincial Trophy Festival here in Pembroke Cricket Club, where it's going to be the Leinster Lightning taking on the Northern Knights.